Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode 50 of the BJJ Foxcast. I am your host, Alex Martinez, and today we have, I don't want to say newcomers. They've been on the show before. I've got Colin Opper. Welcome.
Hello.
I've got Tojo. Welcome. And Steven. Steven was, what episode were you on? See, 25?
25.
Yeah, and we made a promise we would do episode 50 together. So, guys, welcome to the show.
Shitty promise.
Well, it is a shitty promise.
You're like,
I mean,
maybe you can up my salary.
salary.
Oh, salary,
Well,
yeah.
I'll add a fucking...
You're getting paid?
I'll add a zero.
You guys are getting paid?
I'll add a zero to your Christmas bonus. But hey, man, thank you guys for coming, making the time. I know it's a little bit later than we normally shoot a podcast, but I want to make sure everybody could make it. Colin was a last-minute addition. Thank you for showing up, brother.
Oh, I'd always love to be here.
He can't stay home because he hates his wife.
Oh, come on. I got to catch up to Tojo. I know this doesn't really count for him.
Well, Tojo has been on. Tojo's been on a few shows.
Okay,
He's been on a few shows. Tojo's like, he's like a Labrador. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Leave the door open, he'll jump in the truck.
Cute and dumb.
Yeah, cute and dumb. Yeah.
He did tell me, he's like, if you really just want to be on the podcast, just stay at his couch. And then
Just show up on a Sunday. That's all you got to do.
Yep.
Yeah, man. But I want to accomplish a few things. I want to talk about the last 25 episodes. I want to talk about the changes that have gone on with the podcast, bringing on Josh. I want to talk about Josh a little bit, give him a shout out, and those people that are looking for
How many tables have we had?
tables. This is our third.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
This is
third.
the best setup,
Yeah.
though.
Thank
This
you.
is so good.
Thank you. But Josh is our editor, right,
Yes.
for the podcast. Guy out of Tucson, and he can crank them out, dude. And the edits are good. When he started editing for us, he was editing on his iPhone. I think he did like
Oh, he totally
7
AIs
episodes.
this. He's got Chat GPT fucking
ChatGPT's
doing.
doing
I don't
everything.
give a fuck what he's using.
He's like, yeah, it's so hard. A lot of work, but yeah.
But he's knocking them out. I mean, last week, and I'm not the best at uploading everything right away. So, I mean, it's pretty much last minute for him a lot of times, and he gets them done. So, anybody looking for an editor, his name is Josh. Is it Kramer?
Josh Kramer, yeah.
Josh Kramer out of Tucson.
Huckleberry Productions, I think, is the company that he just patented.
Oh, good.
So, yeah.
Is that a Tombstone reference?
that's what I was going to
It's
ask.
got to be.
It might be,
It's gotta be.
actually.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, no, I really like the guy, and he's on top of it, man. He responds right away, and good dude. So good addition to the team, man.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing him in. So, he's
yeah.
my cousin, full disclosure. So
No shit,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
I thought I told you
No.
that. Oh, yeah, you should have known that before we started paying him.
That's
to
called
edit out.
nepotism,
That is
ladies and
nepotism.
gentlemen.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, he's my cousin, and we're the kind of cousins who are actually like we've been close since we were really little.
Okay, so
Spent
kissing
a lot of
cousins.
time. Not that close. No.
Okay.
But we spent a lot of time together as as kids and everything, and so yeah, it's really cool to bring him in on this. I appreciate you bringing him in.
Nah, cool, man.
He's been a great addition, and it's freed me up to do the shorts and the short form content, which has been great. So.
Yeah. I really enjoy. I think everybody enjoys that. We've gotten more subscribers to our Instagram page than we have our YouTube channel, but a lot of it has been a lot of people are getting pushed to the YouTube channel thanks to the shorts on Instagram. So
Yeah.
So
They're
really
called
good stuff.
Reels. Reels?
The Reels.
Instagram Reels.
Instagram Reels, but it's still the
YouTube
Instagram
Shorts.
page.
Yeah, Instagram. What did I call them?
Shorts.
Oh, but they're shorts on YouTube. I
YouTube,
think, right?
yeah, Reels on Facebook and Instagram.
Fucking
and then,
boomers, right?
But
I'm doing my best.
the growth on Instagram has been really fascinating because I always was under the assumption that like YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world, right behind Google, right?
Yeah.
And Google owns YouTube, so it's kind of all the same thing. So the theory that I was running on was like that we would see the most growth through YouTube. And what's happened with YouTube is that we are actually, I think we might hit 500 subscribers today.
I
We're
hope
at
so.
499.
Yeah, very cool.
And I figured that if we just posted shorts on there, then the algorithm would pick it up and they would push it, and we'd get a lot of subscribers that way. And it's like gone up to a certain level, but we've hit like a cap.
Yeah.
Where it's like every short now gets, usually unless it's like a bomber that just doesn't hit for some reason, it's either like it gets 50 views or it gets 1,500 views.
Yeah.
And then the cap that we've hit, I think the highest is 2,400 views overall.
That's all YouTube.
That's all on
Yeah,
YouTube. Yeah.
yeah.
And don't worry, it's been higher on
Yeah.
Instagram. But the cap on YouTube is about 2,400. We just can't like break past that cap.
Right.
And then we're like slowly adding subscribers. But one thing that is interesting is that the episode views on YouTube are going up fast.
Yep.
So we're already at 250 on last week's episode with Leslie and Andrew, which is like fast.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we were at 150 within 24 hours, which normally it takes us like a couple of days to get to 150.
We're already at 250 on this one, actually.
Yeah. By the time this goes live.
It hasn't even been released.
Well, it helps when the guests repost our stuff a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
they some of them are cutting their own shorts and pointing them to the YouTube channel, stuff like that. So keep doing that. Thanks a lot for doing that, Colin. Appreciate you, man. But you didn't even acknowledge that you were on the show.
Yes, I did.
Oh, come on now.
It was November.
It was Movember, but that was it. Like, doesn't it count today? Doesn't Men's Health count today?
It does.
Only in November.
Only in November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Men's health always counts.
Yeah. What's that? That's right. That's
MRA.
right.
That's
Men's rights.
Yes. Don't get Tojo started. All right. So we
None of us have rights, actually.
we had half the bottle of Horse Soldier last time we were on the show with. Was it with Aaron?
Yeah,
No, we polished one off with Aaron.
Yeah, you polished one off.
And
with
then
Aaron
and
for
then
sure.
you and I drank that last time you were at the house. I don't think it was a podcast. So
that's when the women were gone.
yes, that's right. At their little retreat thing.
Well, I guess Taylor was here, but she doesn't
Yeah,
count.
but
Yeah.
that's whatever. But let's see what kind of damage we can do to this one.
Oop.
Colin, are you in?
I'm in.
Just give me a quarter of that
Attaboy.
or more.
So the first thing I want to talk about.
I'm not done rattling off about
Please.
About
stats,
numbers.
actually
Yeah,
about
yeah.
numbers. So again, I thought YouTube would be the biggest growth,
Yeah.
but it has been Instagram. And so in the last 2 months, we've added 1,800 followers on Instagram. It was something like 900 in March and another 500 in April, and then we just passed 2,000 today.
Nice.
You know what
I
would
woke up
definitely
this
drive up the numbers is if we talk about stats more often.
That's true. Yeah, I'm just saying it's really interesting.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right.
It's really interesting.
It's not a shot.
That's good.
That's 115 proof right there.
124.6,
Is it 124?
I think.
124.6. The last one was 115. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what do they call it? Barrel what?
Barrel proof. Yeah. So depending on which barrel the bottle came from, it's going to be different every time.
Yeah, they don't water this down. It is what it is.
That's good.
Yeah, good shit, man. So anyway, stats are going up. Everything looks great. My biggest concern, I guess, people's biggest concern is like, how long can we do this, right? Because most of the podcasts don't make it to 50 episodes. So the fact that we're sitting here is pretty awesome,
Mhm.
and I'm glad to share this with you guys. That's really cool.
Yeah.
You've been talking your friggin' face off. So tell me about with you, man. What's going on with you? How is your knee?
He came drunk. I told you.
Did he?
No.
He had to clear out his
I
fridge.
want to be stoic. I think I was a little bit goofier my last appearance, so I
No.
want to.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Gotcha. More
Stoic
serious.
appearance.
More serious.
Tell
Tell me about your knee.
Knee is fine. It was a little sore. It was, like I said, I was telling Tojo earlier, it was more my ankle that was bothering me after the match last Friday.
Let's talk about that match. So, Fight to Win.
Mhm.
We had, I don't know, how many people out of our school? 7? 6, 7?
We had 6, but then Ikaika
Oh, that's right. I had to back out last
back
minute.
out. Yeah.
So we had 6. And we didn't have a great showing, but it was fun. I mean, we got, it was pretty
I would
scrappy.
say it was good showing, bad results.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah,
because
that's cool.
I would say Dallas and Sierra both put on really good.
Yeah,
They-
they fought hard.
Sierra had a tough matchup where I think she just kind of got caught in a triangle early.
Yeah.
But she was getting the crowd pumped up with those slams.
Yeah, for sure.
That was-
But you don't slam a triangle if you can help it, unless you can put them on their head.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you slam a triangle, you're making it tighter.
Oh, that's what I told her. I was like, this is the first time I've seen someone slam in a triangle that just didn't immediately get finished afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, she's tough, dude. Plus, she had her arm. Her arm was more set up for a brada plata.
She was chicken winged, yeah.
Yeah,
Which
so
I always tap to that more often than I tap to a triangle.
Yeah,
Because that just fucks
it
with my shoulder.
sucks. Yeah, it sucks. I mean, but I think the girl pulled her arm out to try to push the arm across because she didn't have the brada. I mean, it was just kind of chicken wing.
I don't think she knew that I wasn't going to say anything because
Yeah.
obviously I didn't want to be like, hey,
Hey, look at
beware of the Brada Plata. She's like, oh, yeah, Brada Plata's here.
that. Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, she was set up really well for the Brada.
yeah. And it feels like it's been a long time since we've had Fight to Win in town.
It's been a while.
Yeah,
it
right?
was-
I think they do it
October?
twice a year.
yeah. I want to say October.
October?
August or October.
I might have not gone to that one then because it just seems like I've been
You weren't
disconnected
there.
from the yeah. Where was I? October.
I don't
Wait,
know.
well, that was the one you refed, wasn't it?
No.
No, that was the one before that.
That was
Yeah.
we had Ryan, myself, Ikaika,
Yeah.
and then Jeff.
Oh, the one that was at the that weird convention at Westworld.
Yeah, Westworld.
It was like a weightlifting convention, but they also had a wrestling tournament going on, like a kids wrestling
Yeah, I
tournament.
missed that one. I
There was
missed
a
Yeah.
wrestling tournament. There was bodybuilding. There was
It was a bunch of different
there was like a
shit.
dog show. Not a dog show. Really, there was dogs there.
They weren't that ugly.
Yeah.
They're like an AKC kind of thing where they're
No. It was just
like agility or something.
yeah. I think
Okay.
it was just.
No, there wasn't.
Are you just
I'm just kidding.
Hang on, let me take another sip.
yeah. Yeah, but this fight to win it was the venue was like smaller than I'm used to, so it was kind of crowded in there, but it was cool. Everybody, I don't know, everybody seemed to make the most of it,
Yeah. It was I didn't like there wasn't a whole lot of places to warm up.
Yeah.
It looked crowded.
It was crowded.
So I watched on Fight TV because I couldn't make it down there. And I watched the whole thing, and I mean it was like standing room. I saw people lined up against the walls. The warm up area was like mats kind of in a corner. Like I saw some pictures.
Well, so like where like the big screen is, you can see it from the ring a lot.
Yeah.
Behind that at the Sheraton, there used to be like a hallway, and then there was 2 separate like mini banquet rooms that like they would have like the blue side and the red side, so or red corner, blue corner, whatever. And you had warm up areas with mats and everything. This they didn't have any of that. They just like had out in the hallway. You can go fucking do squats or whatever you want to fucking do.
Well, and that Sheraton also had like it would spill over into that big hallway, right? So they had the warm up area in the big hallway, which is really nice for the fighters, man. This one was like. Literally, it was a rollout mat that was rolling up the wall.
Yeah.
Like there was no room.
Right
for
next to the stage.
Right next to the stage, yeah. Or at least a entry area.
And I don't want to throw Sierra under the bus, but here comes the Greyhound. You told me to help her warm up.
Yeah.
And so I said, you're going against an MMA fighter. I really want you to get physical when you tie up.
Yeah.
And so we're practicing it, and she's doing her shot. And then one time she just hit my head and pushed my head right into the wall, right into a corner, right above the
You
net.
said be more aggressive.
Oh,
And I don't want to hear anything about an injury on you from Sierra.
That's true.
She weighs
That's
literally
true.
half of your weight.
Yeah.
it still hurts.
I mean, speaking of
Wait,
someone
that comment or
The hurt, yeah.
But that wasn't the fun. It's not the funny part. But the thing about it is that wasn't the first time someone hit him in the head during training.
Oh,
That week, he took a headbutt that I don't know how the hell. It was a Sunday comp training,
it was comp
right?
training, yeah.
Yeah, you took a headbutt that was pretty severe.
Yeah, that was a forehead to the temple. Like that was just an Irish kiss.
I was just waiting for the blood to spurt out on the mats. But
I said that when I cut open my eye right here a couple years ago, that's what it felt like. And I just remember when I was holding my eye a couple years ago, like, okay, it's not that bad. And I lifted up and it just blood all over.
yeah,
And so I had that same feeling.
yeah.
And so I slowly lifted up my head and looked at my eye and said, I didn't see anything. I'm like, okay, but that still really hurt. Like,
And that was a really big dude.
yeah, Patrick.
Yeah,
With all the
big dude.
tattoos.
yeah.
Yeah.
Prison Patrick.
No, Tattoo Patrick, we call him.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
He looks like he was in prison.
I don't know.
He felt really bad.
Yeah, he did. He felt terrible. He's a nice guy. He
Yeah.
he got, you get caught up in that moment, and then that's kind of what happened.
I wanted to dirty wrestle, and that's what I got. Don't
No,
ask why
I'm
you
glad
missed one.
Patrick did that. Awesome job, Patrick.
Yeah, good job, Patrick. No, later on during that training session, I didn't bench him, but I didn't let him back on the mat right away because he was like, I'm good. I'm like, no, take a break. He's sitting against the wall, and Patrick's rolling with somebody else. He's like, hey, Patrick, hit him in the face with your head.
It's good technique. It works.
It worked like a champ.
Alex was like, yeah, take some time off. You go take a nap.
Yeah, go take Why don't
your
you
eyes.
relax? Why don't you relax? Yeah.
Shake your head a little bit.
I hear it's good for concussions.
And go
take a
towards the
nap.
light. Go walk towards the light. Oh my God. So
Who's going to be your 11 a.m. coach?
oh shit. Yeah, that's right. Hey, don't die. But tell me about the intensity. Like how did it feel walking? That wasn't your first time on that stage, but it just seemed like the crowd was louder because the place was smaller. Was the intensity a little bit higher?
It was, and it was. I think people were closer to the stage too.
Yep.
And that was the very first one. They were far back enough where you didn't see anyone. You could hear everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, this venue it was.
Yeah.
And there was, and Aries was just represented on all 4 corners, so it was just loud. So it was intimidating.
Yeah, for me, I've done it twice, and the most nerve-wracking thing for me is like walking on that plank that moves as you're walking on. all I could think is like, please don't fall. Just don't trip and fall. That's it. I
got the stairs, going up the stairs.
Yeah.
Like,
Stairs
fuck.
is my biggest worry.
Yeah. They're steep stairs.
I practiced the most. That was was steps because I didn't want to fall on the stairs. But
yeah,
it seemed everyone was closer.
Yeah,
and loud, which was fun. I like that
because the only other time was at the Westworld one. It was the only one you've done, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was night and day. I think it was more. It's more like the feel of most of them. I think most of them are in like banquet halls at hotels, or even like the Victorium. Like it's not a small venue, but it felt smaller, just the way that they put everybody on top of each other. But that Westworld one, which just seemed like you were in a circus tent. Like it's just huge.
Yeah, watch the sideshows.
Yeah.
I feel like smaller, louder is better from a stream viewer perspective. So for like the pay-per-view perspective, the louder it is in the venue, the better. Because I remember the Fight Pass Invitational, Fight Pass Invitational 3. I was like so excited for it, and then I turned it on, and it was like watching golf.
Yeah.
Except quieter than golf, because at least people scream after someone hits the ball in golf. But in Fight Pass Invitational, it was so quiet, and the commentators were like whispering.
Yeah.
With Fight to Win, it was like it was loud. There's energy. That's what I think you want to show to people when it comes to growing the sport. You want to show the excitement.
Agreed. However, I will say that when COVID was on and the UFC stayed open and they were finding places to have fights, I really enjoyed. I didn't really enjoy the hearing the sound of the the kicks landing on ribs and stuff. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not, masochist or whatever. I really enjoyed when the fight was standing and the striking coach was talking, and then they would clinch, and then the wrestling coach was talking, and then they would get to the ground and jiu-jitsu coach was talking. You could hear the different voices of the fighters that in their ears, and I thought that was, from a technical standpoint, I love that part. But you're right. When somebody gets a knockout and there's like 3 people,
yeah, the
it's
spectator.
lame. It sucks.
Yeah, the average spectator doesn't give a shit about what the refs or the coaches are saying. So
but I love that part. But you're absolutely right. Hearing the roar of the crowd just makes you want to watch.
Yeah.
So
Aaron was telling me this weekend about his fight thing last weekend, where they went to California, and he was like, there was nobody there.
Whoa.
He's like, I'm pretty sure the guy who ran the organization has made no money. He probably lost money on that. Because they were actually paying the athletes, and they paid for everyone to get out there, which is cool. But he's like, we got out there, and he's like talking to his opponent. He's like, do you not want to even do this? Because it was like so bad. Like it was the way that they ran it.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Was it the way that they ran it, or they just didn't have attendance?
He said like the mats were wet. There was nobody that showed up to it. It was just like, what the fuck is this?
The mats were wet?
Weird.
Yeah. Like he said, it was out. I saw a couple of pictures of it. It looked like it was on like of the front lawn of a university or something.
Oh shit!
It wasn't even at like a venue. From what I could tell from the pictures, it was really weird.
Yeah, I think Tucson's trying to do something similar, like jiu-jitsu under the lights or something like that.
I've seen that. That looks
U of A.
cool.
Yeah. They've been pushing really hard to get us to show up. I can't remember the guy's name, but I feel terrible because we had so many conflicts going on. We had like promotions going on that day. We had other tournaments that same week. So it was really hard to commit. But man, they sent us this beautiful flyer. They're really trying to court us, and get us out there. And I think it'd be a good experience for a lot of our folks that are thinking about going to college, and going on a campus. Like this weekend, we're going to the Mullet Arena at ASU. I love that idea for our young competitors, being able to walk around campus, which they probably otherwise wouldn't until they were in high school.
I mean, the Mullet Arena is not really close to campus.
Say again?
It's not like where you'll actually be near campus.
Yeah, but I mean, think about it this way: when you go to a venue and there's other shit to do, you're going to do the other shit. Like, hey, I want to go walk. I don't know.
Says you. Downtown Phoenix, I'm like, can I get the hell out of here as
know,
soon as possible?
Yeah, but I mean, but that's you always give terrible examples, so thank you. But like, if you're at ASU and there's a kid who wants to go see the campus, you just walk around campus for a while. I think that's a really good opportunity.
The best time to see ASU campus is at 10 o'clock at night too.
Yeah. Why is that?
Because I'm just kidding.
Again,
you get mugged.
Horrible examples. Yeah. Well, I'm not so much worried about that anymore. Remember, like 10, 11 years ago. You go down Mill Avenue, and it was all bums.
Yeah, it's still like that.
Nah, it's not even close.
I mean, college kids, but whatever. Bums.
Yeah,
Can't tell.
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
What's
I
the
mean,
difference?
at least back then they were college grads, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they would just hang out.
Yeah, there was. I do remember though there was a lot of homeless people that hung around like the theater area.
Oh, yeah.
in particular. They're kind of, but it would like it'd be seasonal. I don't know if it's still.
Those are called actors.
And unfortunately,
Hey.
those are the working actors. You should see the out of work actors. Oh my gosh! But I think that's really cool. And anyway, going back to Under the Lights, the concept is good, but it is U of A, so you got to drive a couple hours, to get out there.
Tucson. So
Do you know what else I
Yeah.
like about that is they have submissions of the night
Mm-hmm.
or a specific submission where if you hit it, they'll pay you $25.
Okay.
So the last one they had, if you hit a omoplata, and Q was like, "Ooh."
$25.
What does he know about omoplatas?
I know.
But they'd have a more gi and then a more no gi submission, and I think that's just a great idea. Just to try,
yeah,
Absolutely.
just if you're trying to bring people in.
Twisters.
Twisters.
That was awesome.
That had to be the submission of the night, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
guarantee it would.
Yeah.
Would have been. I don't think he does anything like that, but he might. I don't know. Does he?
Well, they
He used
listed.
to.
I don't know if you get a bonus or anything.
Yeah.
You just
He
listed
used
it
to.
as submission of the night.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Thanks for taking the attention away from me being heel hooked so bad.
So let's
Everyone gets
get
looks.
back to your heel hook.
Okay.
Just kidding. No.
How bad is your heel hook defense?
Well,
I thought it was good.
Turns out you can't just muscle your way out of heel hooks.
yeah. No, it was tight, and he looked like a big tough dude.
He was.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew I was going in for something for two reasons. One is he's a purple belt open weight world champion. So you don't win those on accident.
Gosh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And two, his Instagram page says BJJ and fitness. So I had to look at what this whole fitness thing was.
Yeah.
And it actually helps you in BJJ. But
Yeah.
I've heard.
That's
Overrated.
Step one. Step one is get yourself in shape.
No, but the funny thing was I trained I watched a few of his fights, and he never pulled guard in any of the fights I saw.
Yeah.
And he went for one leg lock. So
Mm.
my training and my practice was I'm going to try to wrestle him and try to wear him down, kind of weather the storm. 'Cause
Yep.
I knew he was going to be in great shape.
Yep.
And then I thought
So you tried to out fitness the fitness guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the plan.
Not a great plan.
Not really. But then I just started going with leg locks. I didn't see him do a lot of leg locks.
Yeah.
And he's good at those too.
Yeah. No. I mean,
Uh,
it was a cool little chess match there, and yeah, he just
At the
Slipped up.
end, that whole week beforehand, I was teaching that calf slicer,
Oh yeah.
and I was so excited that I got it. And then right at the end, I'm like, he's got my heel. I can either turn with it and just try to create a scramble, or I could triangle it and try to finish the calf slicer. And as I was debating what to do,
Pop.
yeah, pop, 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 pop.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the position. You didn't have the
It was
leg
weird.
trapped, right?
It was kind of 50-50. And but I didn't have so I had my leg over his, and I had my arm through his legs.
Mm-hmm.
But you thought maybe I could have, I know we were talking about it afterwards, if I would have just planted my foot and kind of hipped into it.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. I mean, if you gotta be able to like drive that hip into his like shin in order to like drive it into that calf slicer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of had that foot up in the air, which also led to the heel hook, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just, and I think I said this on Thursday when I was coaching. It's when you're in 50-50, whoever's foot is lower is going to win.
Mm.
And that, I told you I was right. I wasn't
See,
lying.
everyone?
Yeah.
See?
Well, that's actually what first thing that Milton showed us during a seminar was get their foot off the mat,
Mhm.
and then keep it off the mat, and you're kind of in business
Mhm.
at that point. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no, that was cool. We had several matches that Johnny Tran got a knee bar.
From Squid Guard, that was a 6 setup.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was a
that
really
was-
good setup.
That was my favorite. That was one of my favorite to watch.
Yeah,
I love watching Johnny roll.
he's very intense. Yeah, he's very emotional competitor. So it's really cool to watch. But he hit that knee bar, and Kevin was telling him to do something totally different.
Mm-hmm.
And afterwards, he's like, man, he goes, I really want a knee bar, but I really want to listen to my coach. And we all have the best intentions for our fighters, man, as coaches, right? We want to, we see something, we want to tell them. But at the end of the day, man, the fighter is the pilot flying the plane. Mm-hmm. You get to decide in which direction the flight goes, man. You don't, we are suggesting, right? Mm-hmm. And we get to say, someone said it like, oh, we get to say, oh, shucks, you got to live with it.
Yeah.
So if you're not comfortable with, something I'm telling you, or if I'm speaking in paragraphs and not sentences, that means you don't know the position, right? So just go with what you know.
It's like, I'll take it under advisement.
Yeah,
Thank you.
That's really what you're doing. You're taking things under, and sometimes you have that oh shit moment, like oh shit, he's right, and you just switch to it, right? And then you're back in business. But yeah, I mean, if you're in the thick of it and your coach is yelling something, yeah, I mean, you can. Maybe you won't hear him. Okay, that's one thing. But if you do hear him and you disagree, you're the one in the match, man. You just keep doing what you're doing, and you got to live with that decision.
I kept telling Colin to stand up, and he just wouldn't.
Colin is not going to listen. I'm trying to soften the blow here. Fucking Colin doesn't listen.
I do have the Craig Jones BJJ Fanatics just stand up. That guy was a little bit big for me to just stand up,
bro.
Yeah.
Dude, I saw him afterwards. He was a monster. I was yelling at him too. Like, hey, he's got to teach on Monday. What's the hell's the matter with you? He's like, I'm so sorry.
Nice
He's apologizing.
He was such a nice guy.
Yeah, that's cool, man. It's funny, like moments leading up to the whatever match that you have, you're almost psyching yourself up. Like for me, it's like I don't hate this person, but I'm gonna go in there and fuck him up, right? And then afterwards, you're like best friends.
Yeah.
Right. All that tense that tense feeling you have towards each other, it's all gone. It's all of it,
And I was talking to him afterwards too. He does a lot of work with We Defy.
Oh, okay.
And I have a friend that I trained with at Reds who just moved to Tucson.
Okay.
And I said, can I grab your number? I want to give it to my friend Manny.
Smooth. Nice move. Yeah.
Should call him back afterwards? Because you're supposed to wait a day.
Yeah.
No, you got to text him right away, but then wait a day to call.
Well, I said, it was just, I let you win, so can I get your digits?
Oh my, what was that guy's name?
Kenny Kempton or Kempton.
Okay. Yeah. Cool dude. Where did he train?
Dio in Tucson.
Okay. Yeah. Dymo. Yeah. I've seen them around. That's cool. Yeah. Would you fight him again?
Yeah.
Like today?
Not today.
Can we call him?
Right now?
Can we set it up?
Actually, come on in.
Grab the mic. Grab the mic out of there. We got a spare. Oh, my God.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Let's just blindside Colin one day.
That's really a WWE move. Comes in with a chair. No, I would again. Because the one thing that he also did that was he pulled guard within 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I did not think.
Threw you off. You were ready for a wrestling match, right?
I was.
Yeah.
And he pulled guard, and it took me about 15, 20 seconds to catch up to his movement.
Yeah.
Because I froze for a second because I was not ready to be because he had really good. I don't know if he had a butterfly guard or something, but I felt that floating. It was like going with Koa.
Yeah.
Like that
strong
little
legs. And
just a little flow, and I'm just like, come on. Oh, we're gonna try to hit doubles on each other. Come on.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So, yeah, and then we were talking about this in class. Well, at least I brought it up in class about competing, because we are the announcements that we have going on are very competition heavy, and I wanted to just talk to the team about competitions are not important to me as far as advancement goes. You know what I mean? It's a good way for me to see, like in a real life scenario, how you're doing, how you're picking things up, how you're processing that information. But really, I mean, if you're showing up for fundies, 4 or 5 days a week, and you're getting it, the advancement's going to come. I mean, eventually, like I don't foresee me giving somebody a purple belt unless they're actually rolling.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't expect anyone to compete. If they do it, I want them to do it because they love it. I do it because I love it. I love the process. I think that the competition, the tournaments are the easy part, right? Because all the things that suck are the things that you do before. You deny yourself pizza. As we had some frozen pizza before this, but you deny yourself a lot of things so that you can be ready for that competition. And I just want people to understand that. I don't care if you compete or if you don't. But if you're going to compete, now I care. right? Because if you're going to make that commitment, we came from a school where you didn't even whisper that you're going to compete unless you were ready to put in the time, right?
And you're already doing 3 or 4 days a week.
Yeah, 3-4 days a week. And, you know, Nava had a clipboard where you would literally put your name in and put the weight down because he wanted to make sure that he put all the pieces together because he's not just about you winning. He wants a team to win, right?
Yeah.
He wants to bring home that trophy. So if he and I were in the same bracket, he'd be like, oh, one of you's got to go up and one of you's got to go down. You guys decide who it's going to be. So that's just the way it was, you know? So when I'm not at that point, no, I'm not at that level, but if you're going to compete, you better be in shape. You better be technically sound, and you better have the right tactics going in. There is no hope, right? Hope is not a freaking what do you call it? Hope is not a tactic, right? You gotta go in ready to scrap.
Can't wait to hear someone's fucking internet advice about how what you just said is wrong.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna get to the segment of shitting on the.
I'm
comments.
trying to segue as quickly as possible because I just want to talk
shit. You guys
shit.
want to shit on the comments?
I just
now?
want to talk
I will
shit.
say I don't like to give them a lot of air personally, but I think there's a lot of good conversation to be had.
Great conversation.
and some comments. To
I just
want to
talk shit. I don't care.
There's some stupid people out
Are
there.
you just gonna read all the shit I've been saying about Tojo?
Yeah.
I say it to his face too.
Oh my gosh, no.
Everything you've heard
Colin-
about me is true.
Colin's on burner accounts.
Yeah, no, my favorite comments, especially the ones that shit on the show or shit on whatever. Listen, I say a lot of stupid shit. I get it, right? But it's just off the top of my head. None of this is scripted. Like, we don't write the shit down so we could share with the world. We
Yeah.
just talk. And there's some people like, I completely disagree with that argument. Who the fuck am I arguing with? I'm just saying shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not arguing. But
Get your own podcast.
yeah,
They're
get your-
free.
Yes.
And then I try to drag them into an argument, and they fucking ghost me.
Yeah. No, my favorite ones are that's bullshit. You're an idiot. I hate you. And it's like no photo, private account, 2 followers. Like that. Not that I care. Like do your thing. But fucking if you're gonna bow up, fucking bow up, man. You know, let's fucking talk this out. It's not like I'm gonna beat the shit out of anybody, but I enjoy a good argument, and I know you, Tojo, enjoys a great argument. Maybe a little bit too much, but you're right. We try to rope them in, and they don't bite.
I heard there's blood in the water, and I was like, I'm in. Let's go swimming.
Well, I remember when on episode 25 you were talking about like as soon as people start getting to the comments, I'm in there. Like I'm ready to go. And I mean we've had a few viral clips, which has been really cool. I mean, most prominent I would say obviously is the blue belt clip.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Yeah, which is
the
such
fights in that clip. Were epic.
I haven't read all the comments because I don't read the comments personally. I just put it out there and I post in Ghost, but there was like over 100 comments on that, and I saw a lot of people. The number one thing I saw that I thought was ridiculous was it was like, it must be something to do with your school.
That's a reflection of your school.
Yeah, it must be a reflection of your school. It's like, my first thought is like, take any blue belt from our school and any blue belt from your school.
Yeah. I don't know, but some of those guys were like, I think one of them was like, he did some kind of striking art of some sort, and he was like, talking about we're gonna have to close our doors because so many people are leaving. That's not the case. I mean, in jiu-jitsu, people come and go all the time, and any freaking martial arts sport, you name it. I mean, you've been really involved with your kids, like soccer stuff and all that.
Yeah.
How many kids have come and gone?
Oh,
You can't even count them.
it's a new team every year.
It's a new team every year, and that's just the way it goes. And that is the reason why I tell my team all the time, I say this, enjoy this moment because this team will not be together again ever.
And the difference is soccer is easy.
Ouch. Wow. Here come the comments.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I'm not gonna argue with that one. It is easy. Guy like me can get his college scholarship.
Yeah, but where'd you go to college?
UW Parkside.
Okay.
On a soccer scholarship.
Nice.
Harvard of the
Why do
Midwest.
you sound so
I
fucking
just
surprised?
because I didn't know that.
I know, obviously, you didn't listen to the podcast number 24 with Colin
I
Opper.
edited that one. Did you? Did you
Colin
mention it there? I don't think you did.
I think. Well.
I remember leaving that episode wishing I had learned more about you.
Oh
Wow.
Oh, that was a
Wow.
good. That was a good.
That's
You want to get his number now?
that's a shot on me right there.
We'll talk, yeah.
You guys keep talking. I'm gonna look for a comment.
Well, I mean, Colin's definitely got the physique of a soccer player.
I was gonna say I don't look like your typical soccer player, but I was a lot smaller in my late teens, early 20s.
Did you play all the way through, like
Yeah.
all 4 years?
I played 6 years because I had a red shirt and a medical red shirt. So
I don't know what that means.
Redshirt is just basically you can go to school, you can practice with the team, but you can't play in a game. Medical redshirt is if you play in a few games, but then get serious injury and can't finish the year. It doesn't count towards your eligibility.
Okay.
So, and then if you're really good, there's also an Olympic redshirt.
Oh, really?
I did not get that.
And is that like?
You see it more in wrestling, in college wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you see Spencer Lee, who I think is like 42 years old right now. He's been in college wrestling for 74 years, something like that. But he had I think he had a medical redshirt, and then he had the COVID. I don't know
waiver or whatever that is. Yeah.
And then he had an Olympic redshirt. So I want to say this was his 7th year in college.
So what does that mean though? Like Olympic redshirt, like they're just like, we want you around. You're so good. We just want you to stay.
Olympic
redshirt
is you're training with the Olympic team to try to make the Olympic team. You're going to trials. You're going to qualify the trials. You have to qualify. It's kind of like a IBJJ World Tournament.
Okay.
To get your seed, you have to do other tournaments. And you don't get the points in college because it's a different form of wrestling.
Okay. Oh, it's because it's Greco, right? Versus like freestyle.
Greco and freestyle. College wrestling is folk style.
Here's a gimme putt right here. I think the context was Paul Nava talking about how hard it is to be ready for Worlds, and Paul's a 10-time Masters World Champion, so he
doesn't know anything about it.
He knows how to get ready for Worlds, and he was talking about, it's almost insulting when somebody goes in that's not prepared and they end up injuring somebody who worked their asses off to get there. And I don't know who this is. At PVia says, I don't care if I use his name. So so fucking what if the opponent gets injured? Shouldn't be so fucking brittle. And again, like, okay, that's cool to have your opinion, but it's not that the guy's brittle. I mean, the guy, I don't know. If you've gone into a competition and you're totally prepared, I guarantee you're not going in there without an injury. Everybody's got a tweak, everybody's got a back, everybody's got an elbow or a knee or something because you're training hard. And I think Paul was just trying to make that point, like people train their asses off, and somebody who doesn't train their ass off go in there and injure somebody, even by accident. That's just not cool. I mean, what's your guys' opinion?
And I think
on
that's
that?
actually his point, is like a freak accident where you injure the guy who trained hard for this.
Yeah.
Because like you're getting effectively disqualified for getting hurt.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I think of it, that makes me think of like a spazzy white belt. Like if you're someone who you didn't train and you're not prepared to be in the various situations you're going to find yourself in, you're going to spaz and make the wrong move, and that's when people get injured. Yeah. When you're just like, when you're not thinking and you don't have a game plan, you're just doing whatever. To me, that seems like that's when someone's getting injured. So it's funny because I mean, every one of these comments is going to relate to a clip, obviously, that I posted, and I chose that clip for a reason, But I think that's really true. Like what Paul was saying is like, what I took away from that when I clipped it was just, it's someone gives their whole lives to prepare for something like Master Worlds, right? And some guy goes in there, not prepared, like just showed up for fun. And because he's not prepared, he spazzes out or just he's not prepared to be in the situation, and he hurts that guy who's giving everything to be there in that moment. And I think what I took from that was Paul saying like, you're wasting that guy's time. It's not fair to that guy who put in everything.
I don't even think the injury part of that is even like relevant to the true really conversation.
Yeah.
It's because I mean it's the whole reason you have to qualify as an adult now for Worlds, is that they had it was not watered down's not the right term, but there was just too many people who just didn't belong.
Yeah.
Like a hobbyist adult and like those guys are basically professional athletes.
Yeah.
The guys who are trying to get on the podium / they're trying to win. They're trying to get gold, right? Those guys are professional athletes. But then you like fill up the bracket with a bunch of guys who are casuals or at least just not willing to put in the time. And it's like, this like you're just getting in the way of like good jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you look at what the ADCC is doing now, and I'm just guessing here, I haven't read anything. I'm sure this would be my move if I were running it, is they're having the opens now. And I believe what they're trying to accomplish, and correct me if I'm wrong, is they're trying to make people earn points. Like you have to earn points to do adult worlds, right? You can't just sign up, because during the trials you had 200 competitors at the 66 kilos. I only kept track of that one because that's the one Josh was on. You know what I mean? So I really didn't care about the Gordon Ryans and all. I really don't give a shit. I just like to watch my instructor play. And he went in there and he was destroying everybody in the first day. And Josh is a super talented guy. And if you go and look back at some of those guys that he was fighting, they're fucking blue belts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't belong there. Not with a guy like Josh. Not with a guy like Gordon Ryan. Not with a guy like, Nicky Rod.
It's tough because, Nicky Rod's a good example because he was a blue belt or purple belt.
Yeah, but he's a murderer.
Right.
He is not a purple belt.
I'm just saying that there's exceptions.
There are exceptions.
You know.
But Nicky Rod could qualify for, he doesn't have to probably get invited, but he could qualify for the trials easily, right? And if you're making the guys qualify, I think it's going to shorten that pool. They're not going to have to do 2-3 days of fucking trials to get the pool of 16, right? It's going to be 1 day of trials because the people who should be there are there. Mm-hmm. And I really, really, truly believe that even at the Masters level, we should have to earn points to get into Master Worlds because there are some guys that just don't belong. I might be one of them. I might not qualify. I don't know, right? Let's make us qualify. Let's see. Let's do it right.
Yeah. I mean, you had what? 50 some odd people?
Yeah, like 50 some people. And and listen, I beat the first guy 12-0. Okay? I train hard, but I'm not 12-0 good.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm just not, dude. Like, I'm win by 2 points, win by advantage, lose by advantage, right? It's always really close. I beat somebody by 12. I'm sorry, that guy doesn't belong. I'm only been a black belt 3 years.
Right.
I should not be blowing people out 12-zip. I know that's going to get some fucking hate, but but it's the truth, man. I am not 12-0 good.
Yeah, I mean, that's supposed to be the Worlds, Master Worlds, whatever, is supposed to be the World Series. Like, that's supposed to be the Super Bowl or whatever. Like, that's where, like, the best people, the guy who's prepared the most, the guys who are the most prepared, right, should meet.
You look at the back of somebody's gi, and it says Saulo Ribeiro BJJ. He turns around, oh, shit, it's Saulo Ribeiro.
Yeah.
That's what you're going against at Master Worlds. These are people that I YouTubed when I first started. You know what I mean? I have nothing but respect for these guys. Honestly, like, I'd like to see if I belong there. And just signing up and paying the $150 or whatever the hell it is doesn't make me qualified to be in that bullpen with them.
Don't you find out if you belong, though, like, once you get onto the mat? Like,
Gosh,
in that moment, that's when you find out.
The problem is, like last year, I lost to the guy, the number 1 seed in my bracket. I lost to him by 1 advantage. He scored. It was 0-0-1 advantage, okay?
Jose Carlos?
No, I didn't get to fight Jose Carlos.
He was next. He was going to be next.
He had been quarterfinals, and I wanted that match really bad. It probably wouldn't have gotten my way, but I totally want to be in the same on the same mat with him.
The guy who stalled you out in guard, basically?
Yeah. So, but the first guy I beat 12-0. The second guy, he had me in a little bit of trouble, but I beat him like 4-2 or something like that. So it was a little bit back and forth. But the third guy, it was all strategy. It wasn't like, the guy scooped me up and slammed me and, embarrassed me and submitted me in front of everyone. No, he was grinding his way to the next round, and that's how he grinded his way to the next round. He lost the next round, and I like to think because he was pretty exhausted after fighting me. But you never know, man. These are guys. I mean, this was a 4-stripe black belt. I have nothing but respect for the guy, and I want to prove that I belong on that mat with that guy. And how better than to make me score points and make me do some opens. They can qualify. I would have no problem with those guys getting invites, right? They've been around a long time. They basically, they were the ones, the pioneers for jiu-jitsu. Back when we started, no-gi was what? Masters 1 and Masters 2. Mm-hmm. That was it.
Well, wasn't it Masters 1 and Senior 1?
No, that was no-gi. It was Masters, Seniors, and the gi, but no-gi was only Masters 1 and Masters 2. So you had like 50-year-old guys in Masters 2. They're going against 35-year-olds. That's a little bit unfair, right? But that's where it started. Those guys were pioneers, right? Then we grew into Masters fucking 11 now. I don't know what it is. Anyway, but that's something that I'm really passionate about because I care about. Master Worlds is my Super Bowl. That's the one I care about. No other tournament matters. However, if I had to score points, I'd be at Denver. I'd be in Phoenix. I'd be, California. I'd be wherever.
New Orleans.
I'd be wherever I could. To score points.
And that's what I say, as a coach now, when someone come up to me and says, I want to do Master Worlds or I want to do Worlds, what are you doing before that?
Yeah.
Are you taking this seriously or do you just want a T-shirt?
Mm-hmm. Well,
both.
So I don't
T-shirt's
know.
Nice.
T-shirt is nice.
So Gustavo Dantas, when we were under Novignao, we were under Gustavo. He was the head of Novignao North America. I don't know if he still is, but anyway,
so.
he was the guy. And at his school, he had an internal point system, so you could not sign up for Worlds or Master Worlds as a black belts had to qualify, but lower belts don't. So you couldn't sign up for Worlds unless you met his points requirement. So you had to do local tournaments, you had to do opens, you had to do all kinds of stuff. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'd want to take the time to track everybody's points, but I think it's a great idea.
So he
Because
wouldn't.
you should have to pay the price.
He just wouldn't let people sign up. He'd
No.
be like, "No, sorry, you can't."
No, Gustavo's the type of guy that, like, I remember when he built a true fundamentals class, and it was for white belts and blue belts that were like, coming up lame or whatever, coming up, from injuries and coming back. He would tell them, "No, you don't go to the fundamentals class. That's not for you. You got. I mean, once you got 3 stripes or something on your white belt, you were in the advanced class."
Wow.
Yeah.
My only problem with the Gustavo thing is he also benefits from those guys doing more local tournaments.
Sure.
since
No,
he
absolutely.
gets paid from those local
Absolutely,
tournaments.
but you're not going to have a purple belt go out and embarrass you at Worlds because he doesn't train, doesn't compete, and just wants to do it's an accountability piece that no one wants to be held to.
I like the
And
accountability
does he-
thing, but
yeah.
I think it's different when you run the organizations that you're requiring them to do.
Does he still?
he
does he
doesn't-
still do that though?
He doesn't require them. He didn't require them to do that. They could do opens.
Yeah.
They could travel the country and do opens. He didn't require them to do locals. The locals were just a convenience
Yeah.
for them.
Mm.
I don't know.
Does he still have that system?
I don't know that he still does.
Okay.
I don't know that he's that far in the trenches. He's got so many black belts now. He might teach one class, in a school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I don't know that he's tracking it. And I had a conversation with him not too long ago because I'm trying to get him on the show. And the conversation was basically, in 2016, it was super important to him to have a world champion come out of his academy. He's trying to build world champions. That's not his thing anymore. He's got other stuff. He's got nonprofit shit like that
Yeah.
that he's doing. So I don't know that he's that in the trenches with the guys anymore. And I think at 41 he did Pan Ams as a in the adult level.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, so he was very, very competitive for
I
a long
think
time. Two-time world champ.
I think he's back being more of one of the head coaches there.
Is he? Okay.
Yeah, because I know he stepped away for a little bit
Yeah.
to work on like you said other projects, but I
Yeah.
think he's back in there.
Okay.
Yeah, my understanding is he hasn't lost a step either.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. No, he keeps himself in shape. So.
Yeah,
How old do you think he is? 46? Maybe 47?
100? I don't know. He could just be one of those guys who never ages.
True.
I was just thinking in terms of like a conflict of interest because back then when he was if he had those requirements, I don't know if AZBJJ was at the level that it's at now.
No way.
So it would be a conflict of interest like if those two were in sync, but because he doesn't do that, he doesn't have that process anymore. I feel like it's not conflict of interest now.
Yeah.
I would disagree. I would say that there was no other nobody took any. There's no other tournaments that came into town back then.
Yeah.
That was worth a damn. There's Naga, which everyone just
It's Naga.
whatever it
Don't give a
is.
shit.
It is what it is. Like people kind of just shit on Naga. Like I hear they put on a good organization. They're a much better organization
They do now. Yeah. They do now.
And now we have Jiu-Jitsu World League. We have Grappling Industries. We have a lot of different options that come through the town. Back when Alex and I were like white and blue belts, there was not. It was basically AZBJJL. If you wanted to, or I don't even think they called it that.
It was
back
a
then.
AZBJJF at the time.
Yeah, or something.
And then AGF came to town.
hmm
And I was like, okay, cool, something different,
Yeah.
right? They were just, it was all the same competitors.
But it was
just
all- it's-
different colors.
yeah, but none of that stuff was like developed enough. Like
Nah.
Gustavo pretty much had that stuff. Like he had the. He ran it better than any other tournament that came into
Yep.
town.
And that was a big thing with Naga because Naga would come to town and you'd have white belts on the mat at freaking 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nobody wants that long a day, man. Especially when the doors open at 9, 8:30.
Everybody wants the sword though.
Everybody wants. Do they still do the swords? I know they
I
had
hope
belts
so.
and shit. They had
Belts and swords.
And the
Yeah.
WWE belts.
Yeah, that was
those are
kind of
so
cool.
I always wanted one. Never got it.
I'll buy you a samurai sword.
Yeah, we'll buy you a samurai sword. No, I won't buy you a
I
samurai
would carry it
sword.
around all the time.
Yeah, that's the problem. He'd carry it. He'd put it in his friggin' belt in class.
Yeah.
and yeah.
He'd wear it on his back.
You know, my oldest daughter she's a phenomenal musician, choir. Her choir director got in trouble because he would carry a Nerf gun. And if they were out of tune, off pitch, or whatever the correct term is, shoot them with Nerf. Nerf.
I love that.
That's hilarious.
I think that's a great idea.
That's
Yeah.
a great idea.
I think we should have a Nerf gun.
When a kid starts half-assing a drill, you're like, bam,
That'd be D just shooting me over and over again.
Yeah. Who was Ben Shimono? Didn't he used to hit us with a like a dodgeball, one of Nava's dodgeballs when we were doing something wrong.
I don't remember.
He said bounce one off.
I never did anything wrong. So
yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Technique is flawless. I don't know,
right. Oh my gosh, yeah.
We were just going over something the other day, or I think I was teaching some to a white belt. I'm like, that was the first technique I ever learned from Ben Shimono, actually.
Oh really? What was it?
I wish I could remember. It was that knee on belly thing where they like go to push your knee off and you underhook the arm and then spin around to the armbar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
That's what it was. Yeah. I was like, hey, that was the first thing I ever learned.
Yeah. Yeah. My first jiu-jitsu class was Berimbolo.
Yep.
That was my first jiu-jitsu
My first
class.
Paul class was X-Guard. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't even know what a closed guard was, and I'm like inverting or trying to at least. Like, how the hell you get on your shoulders?
I mean, you were like 250 pounds back then.
238. Thank you very much. Not 250. Don't exaggerate.
Round up.
Yeah.
Metric.
And I don't carry it well.
It's metric.
I don't carry it well. Like, my legs stay the same size. It's all belly. And boobs. I get boobs.
Midwest middleweight.
Yeah, Midwest middleweight.
Embrace it, man.
Here's a question for you. Do you think that having been that heavy at one point in your life, do you think it's possible for anybody to lose it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, barring any real like medical issue, like I don't know, some kind of thyroid thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah. Well, here's the thing: you start out training, and then you fall in love with whatever it is that you're training in, whether it's CrossFit, Jiu-Jitsu, I don't care. And then you just want to do it more. And then all of a sudden, you're like, hey, I notice that this person drinks a lot of water. Maybe I should do that, right? And then you start drinking water, and then you're like, hey, well, you start kind of studying your body a little bit, and you're thinking, well, maybe I should start eating a little bit better to treat my body a little bit better so I can recover faster so I can do this more, right? Because we were training, dude, I bet I was doing 12 hours a week, maybe 13 hours a week of jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. Like I was just going like morning class and then 2 evening classes, 3 days a week, open mats, and then, peppering in other classes wherever I could. So I was just training all the time. So I wanted to take care of the body so that I could keep training. Yeah. And it worked. And it wasn't like I was on the scale every day. It was like one day, like I saw a friend that I hadn't seen in a while, and they're like, holy shit, you look skinny. Yeah, thanks. And yeah, that's just kind of how it went. I lost 60 pounds. It took me almost 3 years, but I lost 60 pounds. And that's just from like doing a tournament at super heavy. Fuck this.
Yeah.
Go to heavy. Fuck this. Go to 195. They're still pretty big. Go to 181. That's just how it worked.
It's like, I mean, I talked to like my ultra and super heavy, like, students, and like, dude, unless you're like, you look like a lineman where you're like, you're 300 pounds, but 300 pounds of muscle.
Yeah. And you're 6'5".
You're going to have a rough time at one of these tournaments. Cause it's not always going to be just like chubby out of shape dudes in the super or ultra heavies. Cause sometimes you get those guys who are super athletes. Yeah, that just weighed 250 pounds.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, look at He was gigantic.
Yep.
Let's beep that name out. By the way, I don't want that name out there. But like, 290, I think, when he walked through the door, 6'7". Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, man, he's a big dude. He's a big dude, and he was big and he was mean, and all he had to do was just like wait a couple minutes. He'd gas a little bit, and then you're on his back, choking him out. That was the kind of, and then he learned how to get out of that, and then became a nightmare.
Yep.
But yeah, he's still rolling.
It's just like if you have that extra weight on you, it's like you're gonna find someone who's gonna be that weight, but with a better composition.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there's people that are like, they want to compete so bad, and they want to compete right now, but they're over that 220 mark, and dude. As a coach, we have to save them from themselves. Yeah. Because, they're going to meet somebody who's 6'7", 280, and they're going to be pushing down, and they get really heavy really fast.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any experience with this as a Midwest middleweight, but how tall are you?
About 5'10".
Okay, so you're pretty average. I mean, yeah so you got to get...
Whoa.
Oh, damn.
Average height. Above average looks. You want to go down the list? Like, mediocre jiu-jitsu.
My wheels are just turning with insults right now. I'm not letting them any of it out. Cheers.
I know. We're all done. We're ready for round 2.
Yeah.
I know you just got back from knee surgery and you're on Percocet. No,
I am
kidding.
not on
He's
Percocet.
Not on
I'm on ibuprofen.
His wife would kill him if he was drinking on that.
I really enjoy feeling that pain, though. That little twinge in the knee. I kind of like it.
I do want to say that's what the first thing you said when I lost.
I mean, I'd let you pour the rest of that bottle, but give it
to me was, how does 195 sound to you?
Pretty damn good.
A lot better than Ultra.
Yeah, man. Ultra heavy is just too big, dude. I'll go get another
I was
bottle.
say we're gonna need another one of those.
Yeah, I'll
Amy.
Woman.
Well, that's what the studio
yeah,
needs.
she'll love that.
A whiskey button.
Let's full disclosure. She
Break
was
my
already
arm.
And like a little what's it called, the dumbwaiter system?
Oh, dude, why don't they make houses with that anymore?
Because we can make one. Let's do it.
I'm serious. Let's do it.
There's a hole in that wall right there. We just cut the floor out and
Yeah.
Twist my arm.
Yeah.
I would love to put a
I
dumbwaiter
think
system in
that
here.
goes straight down to the living room, right
Yeah.
That would
above
be
that
sick.
closet.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, perfect.
Well,
You see how
we're gonna-
well your
Right,
mats
it'd
were
be
set up
underneath here.
at Aries East Mesa?
Yeah.
That was us. We can do
and your
that.
carpenters are in house.
For a day.
yeah,
it looks
until
so
all your
perfect.
kids destroyed it.
That's what they do. That's they're. I love them. I love them.
Oh, I yelled
they
at my
destroy
class
things.
when I saw someone kind of like lean into it
Yeah.
and moved a mat. I said, no.
You did a great job supervising.
I did more. I did.
Come
a little
on,
more.
stop it. Stop it. Listen, I have photos of what you did.
You
You're standing there with your
You
hands
have
on your
been
head.
around.
you have impeccable timing. I will say that.
I'm gonna go get another bottle. You guys
Right.
keep it going.
Let's just not say anything for the next 5 minutes.
we're
It's
just gonna
great
have to-
podcasting.
Josh's gonna have to cut all this out.
Let's find some food and just chew on the mic.
He's taking a piss break. Did he break already?
Nah.
Is he bringing Kenny? Am I getting another match right now?
Yes. Maybe we're gonna move the table.
Can you
You have to arm wrestle him.
Yeah. Edit. Oh God.
Do you think you'd beat him in an arm wrestle match?
No. Spelling bee maybe.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because
Watch, he's actually like an English teacher. God damn it!
Yeah.
Smarter, stronger, faster.
I'm just like, challenge him in rugby drills.
With your ankle?
Ankle's fine.
You blow out your Achilles tendon again.
That was recreational men's soccer.
The most dangerous sport there
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, seriously. Sunday morning rec league.
Yeah. It goes crab fisher. Sunday morning men's soccer, and then like SWAT captain.
Jiu-jitsu's like 600 or something in their list. Can't get hurt doing jiu-jitsu.
No.
I brought the small bottle.
Let's go.
Costco. The Costco bottle.
I don't care what size the bottle is. We're getting to half.
Okay, done. Should
All
we
right.
mark it?
God damn it. I was drunk last
I
night.
think we're already there.
All right. So I wrote down some topics, and
Preparation.
I'm sure you guys are on the edge of your seat. First one I wrote down for some reason was gym politics. And I don't know how to approach this because, I mean, we have to leave names out, obviously, but we've all been through it, some gym politics, right?
I have not, but that is because
Good.
I don't operate at that level. I just show up and get
Right.
crushed. So
Second one I wrote down was shitting on other martial arts,
Yes, my
which
favorite.
we've done, and I feel terrible. Listen, let's start with that one.
Fight me.
Shitting on
Fight me.
shitting on other martial arts. I think that they all have their place.
have we
Now-
shit on any of them?
We
Oh,
did.
yeah,
He and I
definitely.
Which one?
All
Or do we
of them.
not want to reignite the fire?
Well, no,
again?
we talked about Taekwondo,
I was just
and it
about to
wasn't
Oh
like
yeah, that was funny.
it wasn't like
That
it wasn't
really
like
funny.
I really wish I would.
That was a great clip.
it wasn't like we said Taekwondo sucks, because it does not. It has its place. I think when you're a kid looking to get into some kind of martial art,
It's great for children.
it's great for kids. No, it is. I would never tell like an adult, like, if you want to learn self-defense, go. I don't know why. That's just not my thing. I don't know anything about it. I don't do Taekwondo. All I know is, like, when I hear like kids do the kids that are doing it, they get a lot out of it. I've never heard an adult tell me that, oh, dude, it changed my life.
Yeah.
Right?
I will say, when we were in Wisconsin,
But if there is an adult that has had a life-changing experience, a positive one, with Taekwondo, please share it with the show, and I promise I'll bring it up on the next show.
Yeah.
All right?
there was a Taekwondo school that came to my daughter's elementary school, and they got them all in, like, you know,
Were they breaking boards?
They were breaking boards, everything.
That's awesome.
They got their
lot.
purple belt in 3 months. But I remember I came in, I picked them up.
Wait, how many belts is that above white belt? Purple.
I really think it's
like 15 belts.
No, I really think that's like the third one. I think it's similar.
No shit.
Wow.
No.
In 3 months?
There's like yellow, orange, like
You guys want me to look it up?
yeah. Let's
You,
fucking do
okay.
it.
You keep talking. I'll look it up.
Internets.
But what I was gonna say is I remember coming in. I was wearing a Red Schaefer MMA sweatshirt, and one of the instructors came up to me. He's like, "Oh, I tried jujitsu. I didn't really like it. Did it for like a year, and I didn't get promoted."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in it for the promotions, then you're not in
You're
it for the right reason.
wrong,
Right?
Yeah.
Right, and
had-
that's go ahead.
No, go on.
I was gonna say that's I think that's the mentality. A lot of that's why a lot of those karate type sports are really good for kids, is because there is a belt every fucking month, like or whatever, and that's what kids need. And even in jujitsu for kids, there's like you have the gray belt with the white stripe and the gray belt with the black stripe, and so like there's a lot of promotions because kids need.
I think jiu-jitsu did that because of the
Kids need that.
to appease the
Kids need that.
No, dude, parents need that.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
not even the kid, dude. I'm telling
elaborate.
you.
Yeah.
Elaborate.
So I've coached kids for a long time. That was my first coaching gig, was coaching kids. And I'm not the kids coach at my academy, but I have a lot of experience with this because I'm there a lot. And one thing that I've noticed is that when a parent has an issue with like a kid that's like, now this isn't always the case, but sometimes parents will come to me and be like, hey, some of those kids are a little rough, and they're talking about being bullies and all that stuff. And the kid isn't the one complaining or saying anything. Like, they understand the deal. Like, they're in the moment. They just roll. They just play. They're playing rough with their other friends, especially boys. Boys like to play rough. Some girls are even rougher than boys, so they like to play rough too. But sometimes, like this happened at Nava's place when I was a head kids coach there. I had a parent come to me and say, this is dysfunctional.
What was their name?
Kid, I can't tell you. It's a guy, though. It's a guy. But it was really, the dad could not handle the son losing. Could not handle it, to the point where the kid would come back from other sports and, he was rough. He never dirty, but he was rough. And the kids that were training jiu-jitsu while he was out doing his other sport were like, here we go, right? We got him back on the mat.
I know who this is.
And they were going at him. And the parent would ask me, like, hey, can you put him with some of the newer kids until he gets his legs under him? And then I'm like, I really can't. Like, that's when we start rolling, it's like, pick your partner. And it's a lot of the times it's the parents that can't handle.
They
the
just
kid
shouldn't
losing.
have any parents allowed in the kids class.
Yeah, there's some schools that don't allow them.
I actually agree with that.
Yeah.
I think that my son's introduction to jiu-jitsu would have been better if I had not been present.
Yeah.
And like, he doesn't. So Dax, he started and he went for a little bit, and then he told me he didn't want to do it anymore. And it wasn't like a huge drama. He just I asked him, I was like, are you enjoying it? I always ask him with every activity. I'm like, are you enjoying this? Do you want to keep doing this? And if he tells me no, I don't force him. Like,
yeah,
he's not old enough, in my opinion. And I'm curious what your thought is about this as well as a parent, but and you as well, Colin, like, not you, Tojo.
As the resident non-parent, you guys are wrong.
What do you guys know?
Why don't you tell us about parenting?
Yeah.
It's easy.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
And you get nothing out of
You
it.
get nothing out of it.
So I cannot. He is just not of an age, because he's only 4. I don't think he's of an age where I think it's good to force him to do things for, like, you made a commitment, accountability, like, you need to learn these things. He's just not quite there yet. If he was, I don't know, like 6 maybe, 6 or 7, I'll know when he gets there. But then I'd be like, okay, you know what? You said you're going to do this. You have to do this. I'm making you do this because it is good for you. But he's not of that age quite yet. But I think one of the things, if I had not been on the mats, I think if I had not been there, I think he would have adapted faster and found the actual enjoyment in doing it with other kids and with Coach Yaya, who he loves.
Yeah, she's
but
great.
he was always just concerned about me, like being in the room. He always was paying attention to me and wanted to know where I was. So I feel like if I hadn't been there, it would have been better for him. I think adults not being in the room is actually important.
So I agree with the your comment about his age. Like, I think a kid needs to understand the concept of time. They need to know what a year is. They need to know what 6 months is, right? But once they understand that, it's okay to make them fulfill a commitment. So if you say, hey, we're going to sign you up for a year, but you are going to do this for a year. The highest achievers, all of the high achievers that I know had parents that held them accountable. And it wasn't like anything like, you have to do this or you're not getting out of this. No, you committed to this. You said you were going to do this. We are going to complete this. And once we complete it, then we'll talk about next steps, right?
Mhm.
But until we complete that, don't talk to me about
But
quitting.
as a life lesson.
Yeah, as a life lesson. Yeah, don't talk
Not
to me about
not
quitting.
living vicariously through the kid, which is the other side of that, where they like, you can't quit jiu-jitsu because I couldn't do it or something. They want to like live vicariously through their
that's
kid.
different. That's
Yeah.
different. Yeah, there's some parents that are just so over the top, man. That, yeah, I mean, it's just it's unfortunate because like the kid wants to have fun, but they also want to please their parent, right? Who's watching.
Yeah.
And once that parent is like so over the top, the kid feels like, okay, number one, it's either F this, I want out, or I'm sorry, but I've got to do this to you because my dad's watching and he wants me to win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Especially in something
unfortunate.
like jiu-jitsu, that's
Yeah.
not a good combination.
It's a terrible combination. I mean, and in when you're looking at sports like football, it's so different because football is all about dominating, foot on the throat, don't let up, right? We're doing a very different art,
Yeah.
right? Where there's an individual art where you have to show compassion because you are literally taking someone to the brink of death and then letting go when they say, uncle, or they tap.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a very different thing. And it's
That built-in trust is like
huge.
Yeah.
Huge. And I've had some parents who didn't get it until they started training. And then they're like, they'll pull me aside and be like, I had no idea what I was talking about. And I started training. Like, I can't.
And you're like, I know.
yeah. And but they're yelling at the kid and saying, I can't believe you didn't just put your foot here. I can't believe you just. When you're in that moment, that you can't see that grip that's keeping your foot from moving. They don't understand. You got to have an elbow on the mat or a knee on the mat to be able to bring your hips up higher so you can step over. They don't understand those things, right? Unless you're in that moment, you don't know.
Yeah.
I remember my boss came to my first fight to win.
Yeah.
Fight, and I said, jiu-jitsu's a little weird. Like, have you ever? And she just came to support me, and that was great.
Yeah.
And I
that's
said,
cool.
you're gonna see a couple black belts, and they're gonna have the same grips.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden, one guy's gonna go like this, and jiu-jitsu people are gonna go nuts.
That's so true, though.
Yeah.
That's
It doesn't
true.
make sense.
No.
And
no.
it's speaking as a parent,
Thanks, man.
and from jiu-jitsu,
Thank you.
I wanted to be the quietest parent out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And same thing with soccer. My daughter's a goalie. I'm a goalie. I'm not going to say we're going to go train and do goalie drills that I did.
Mm.
If you come up to me and say, I want to do this, I'll go do it with you.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to make you.
Yeah.
And when Finn tried jiu-jitsu,
Mm.
I was
I wish you would have stuck with it.
same here.
Gosh, yeah, he's cute.
He was, and he's
But
got,
something I've noticed with a lot of kids that have been in jiu-jitsu and quit, a lot of times they just come. If you bring them back into it when they're maybe a little more mature.
Yeah.
and that's
They'll-
that's what I want
Yeah.
with Finn. I didn't want to make him do
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say we've signed up. We're going to do this for 6 months. You're coming 3 times a week.
Yeah.
I wanted it on his own time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then same thing. Like I didn't want to. I wanted it to be his decision.
Yeah.
And then same thing with my daughters with soccer. I'm the quietest guy out there because I'm there to support them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give them. I'm not their coach. I'm just going to. I coached Finn once, and Yaya gave me the stare of death, and I said, "I'm sorry." And I don't think she's seen me outside of a gi.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, I know what I'm doing, but nope, it's your
Yeah.
class. But it's like you said. I don't want them to feel like they have to do it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Especially jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I love jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I want one of my 17 kids to like jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But I want them to like it.
Yeah.
Because they like it, not because dad likes it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you
Agreed.
think is the difference between wanting it to be on their decision? I think that's the most important thing because then they're going to stick with it if it's their decision. What do you think is the difference, and how do you decide between having them start something because it like you want to encourage them into it and saying like, I really think this would be good for you and I'm going to force you to try it to see, to just it's like, do you think it's acceptable to be like, you're going to do this thing for 3 months because I think it would be good for you. If it's not good for you, then at the end of 3 months we'll stop. Or do you think that's never acceptable?
As a
and you should just
non-parent, you
wait?
want me to take this one?
I think if I could just, because I will lose this thought, I think it's all in the way you package it It's just like talking to any other team as a leader. It's all in the way you package it, right? I didn't force my kids to do jiu-jitsu. My son is having an MMA fight here soon, and he is a white belt in jiu-jitsu. And I really wish I would have put the hammer down on him and say, you are not going to not do this. He did keep his promise to me. I told him he's not allowed to do MMA until he's 25. Okay. He kept that promise, right? So, I mean, but he's been training at a really good place. I love the black belt over there, and their striking coach is good. I don't know anybody else on his team, but I trust that black belt. He trains over at Power. Jair is a good guy.
Oh, okay.
So I'm putting my trust in Jair and that team that they're going to take care of my boy until I find out otherwise. But it's really in the way that you package it. And, you know, there are things that you can do to encourage a kid to stick with it. You know, hey, if you show up for the next month, you get this. Yeah, you gamify it, right? Oh, we went twice this week. Let's see if we can do 3. Hey, you think we can do 4? And then at the end of the 4th, you give them a surprise, right? And that way, the kid, you know, will understand that the more effort you put in, there's a prize at the end. And eventually that prize will be, oh, I'm on everybody's back and I'm choking everybody out and everybody's tapping to my stuff. This is pretty cool, right? But at first, it's intimidating. You're going in there, new place, new person telling you what to do, new it's sensory overload. I mean, you're on a different kind of platform. You're wearing a different kind of suit. What the hell is this? A belt? It's overwhelming for kids, and it's really easy for them to say, I don't like this. I want to go back to my regular shit, right? My Spider-Man shirt and do my thing. But if you gamify it, right, you create a little bit of a like a friendly competition with them, and I mean, really show support. I mean, obviously, but you know, give them a prize every once in a while for, you know, for putting in that effort. I think it'll go a long way.
Something I've noticed with a lot of kids that like have transferred from like being like on that young level to like, and whether or not they make it to like, you know, teen or juvenile is so like when they're really young, they just want like fun, right? And the younger they are, the more empty they want that fun to be. Yeah. Like just playing with blocks or whatever, you know, something really simple. But like jiu-jitsu's fun, but it's far from empty, right? Yeah. Like you have to like teach them that like the fun part about jiu-jitsu is when you do all of the shitty stuff, like training really hard, doing all the cardio, doing all the drills, all the stuff that nobody really likes doing, but then when it pays off, like that's the fun part. Like it's the harder you work, the more fun that success is. And I think a lot of kids get pushed into that a little too early, and that's when it becomes a job. And like, you know, sometimes kids are just too young to like see, like you were talking about earlier about like they have to understand time, right? They have to understand that like, hey, I'm going to work at this for a month for this tournament or whatever, and then I'm going to succeed at this tournament, and that's going to be the huge payoff for all of the suck that I just went through. Yeah. But like little kids, if they're not mature enough, they don't see, they just see suck. This sucks, this sucks, this sucks. And they're living like 24 hours at a time, right? They don't look at like tomorrow, the next week, or at anything. The next half hour. Yeah. Right.
But did you read Hicks and Gracie's book, Breathe, or audiobook it?
There's no pictures in it.
No, there's a few. There's a few pictures in it.
Is it on YouTube?
Probably. Probably. You get the free version off YouTube.
I got a lot of Audible credits. I'll give you one if you want.
There you go.
There's way easier ways.
But great book. Highly recommend it. But he talks about his first tournament, and this is the greatest jiu-jitsu practitioner on earth. I mean, he's
right here,
the
guys.
best. I mean, aside from Tojo, right? From Brazil, the best from Brazil.
Okay. Yeah.
But he said that when his dad,
we're gonna get to that halfway. We're getting to that halfway mark.
I was like, one Mississippi, two Mississippi.
Do the Vic, lose the cap.
Yeah.
But his dad told him, like in his very first tournament, he's like, if you win, I'll give you 1 toy. If you lose, I'll give you 2 toys. You know what I mean? So
it's positively reinforcing.
Yeah, it just go in there and try. Go in there and try.
Yeah. Well, that's what I want for Dax is like, what I don't want is for him to not do something like jiu-jitsu because he would rather sit at home and watch iPad all day.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want that. Yeah. But I don't want to be the parent who's like, you're going to do this because my dad made me do this, and look how I turned out. Like,
you're going to love it. Yeah.
And that's what I want for my kids too. It's just I will sign them up for everything. lacrosse, we've done jiu-jitsu, we've done gymnastics, we've done soccer, and I'm not going to force them to do it because I want them to do it. I want them, but I don't want them sitting around.
Agreed.
I want them to do something, and I want them to do something with a passion.
Yes. Yeah. And it doesn't matter what it is.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. So I totally agree with that. I mean,
I like that you picked all sports that have no future.
For you.
well, I mean, when you grow up 5'3", you know. And,
well, gymnastics. All gymnasts are tiny.
Although no, because I talked to you.
Yeah, but they're not fat.
That's true.
I talked to you because Finn said climbing. I'm like, well, I talked to Tojo. I talked to you a little bit about that. I'm like, well, how do I get him into climbing? I just want him to be passionate about something.
Yeah.
My oldest is an unbelievable singer. I don't know where she got it from.
You?
Oh, hang on. No,
please don't. Please don't. That's worse.
You know,
that's worse than stats.
Yeah.
It's interesting. God damn it.
And we've come full circle.
We haven't yet because we haven't even gotten to the whole point of this conversation. About
what is the point of this conversation?
We were talking about how like people walk in and they're like, "Oh, I want a belt. I want a belt. I want a belt."
Oh, it was the
true.
fourth
That's
belt,
where
by
we
the way.
were.
Purple was fourth.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
In
was
3
close.
months.
Yeah.
But,
3
yeah,
months. Wow.
but my daughter's got purple belts in
Nice.
in 4 months, I guess.
Yeah.
But I thought we were shitting on other.
We're not.
I'm trying to
shitting
get
on
us
other
back
ones.
to
I
that.
don't know, man.
Okay.
We've gone.
I'm trying to
so
get
far
us back
off
to
track.
that.
You know what? I missed out. I started jiu-jitsu 2005, 2006.
Wow.
I just missed the dojo storming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was what, like 97, 98, something like that, 2000?
2000.
You mean
Yeah.
like the real dojo storm?
Yeah,
Yeah,
the real
like-
shit. Yeah.
So for those who might not know what the dojo storming is, because we're millennials and started
don't
last
lump
year.
me in with
No,
you.
Yeah, that's true. You don't count.
You
well,
guys are the
What
same.
is it?
okay, so
For the boomers.
So you guys just chime in whenever, but it started out when jiu-jitsu first came to the U.S. It was like, okay, we want to prove that this system is better than others, right? So students would go out to like kung fu studios and taekwondo studios and all that stuff and be like, hey, I want your biggest, baddest, toughest guy to come fight my guy who only weighs 150 pounds and he's, you know, soaking wet, blah, blah, blah. And they would go to the jiu-jitsu school and get slaughtered by
Okay,
some
I've
kid,
seen this
right?
on Instagram.
So
yes.
that is a challenge. That's not a storm. But you know, you fast forward a little bit. Jiu-jitsu, he doesn't
He
care.
doesn't give a shit.
He doesn't care. So jiu-jitsu,
Take it out
as
in
it started growing, and people were like, "Oh shit!" UFC 1 it happened in what, 93, November or something, November 12th, something like that. Anyway, that happened, and then jiu-jitsu starts getting popular. There were all kinds of people coming from other places to teach jiu-jitsu, and their belts were magically turning black from purple to black, coming out here opening schools and all that stuff. So they weren't looked at like real jiu-jitsu schools. So people in real jiu-jitsu schools, right, would go to those schools and just wipe the floor with all of their
that's hype.
students.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was that
Well,
was a
there's
gorge.
two sides. It's either
Yeah.
it's the fake black belt,
Yeah.
or it would be style versus style.
Yeah.
Like, oh, here's a Hapkido school. All right, give me your 3 best fighters. Here's our 3 best.
That there ever was.
And then no one ever talks about, there had to be like one jiu-jitsu guy that lost. There had to be like a me that walked in and got clocked in the fucking jaw and fell down.
It was me. I did one. I did one dojo storm, and then it
Turns
ended.
out white belt me wasn't that good.
History is written by the victors.
No, but
That's
because a lot of the a lot of schools, not just Midwest, is Pedro Sauer, but he had one of the famous one. He took on like a 250-pound bodybuilder
Oh, that's right.
in
Yeah,
like
yeah.
an MMA fight,
Yeah.
and worked him.
Yeah.
It was, and Pedro Sauer is one of the nicest guys you'll
Yeah.
ever meet, and I just saw a look of anger, like
Yeah.
he was representing the Gracies. I mean,
Yeah.
he was.
That means a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
What
lot
do
of pressure.
What do you guys think about a competition format that's school versus school, and you take your best in each belt and have them compete head to head, and the school that wins the most rounds is the victor?
Isn't that what a tournament is?
Well, no, you're talking more like a dual meet, right?
Yeah, like
a
straight
regular
up
dual meet.
like Aries East Mesa versus Aries Goodyear.
In Wisconsin,
Oh,
we
that's just
had
unfair.
cage grappling and it was more dual meet. It's not belt, it's just weight class.
Yeah.
And they did that.
May I just say something real quick?
No.
That was not a challenge for Aries Goodyear. Just so we know.
Oh yeah.
Just so we're fucking clear.
You know, like a soft school, like Aries Goodyear.
Aries, Arizona.
You know, just some Kevin
But I'm
Carrasco
saying,
guy.
you know, on June
Whatever.
3rd, we've rented the academy and we can stream it. So if Aries Goodyear will show up.
Yeah,
they won't show up.
I think
There's no ultra there that could take.
I think honestly, I think we would have to go to them. We would go to them. Trust me.
Yeah.
That's just the way it would work.
Better mat space.
No, we would go to them. They wouldn't come to us. Yeah, that's not a challenge. Kevin, I love you.
But I mean, back to the whole point. Like, I think a lot of people like are so used to instant gratification for whatever it is. Even like at your work, they want to have employee of the month or whatever that.
Yeah.
Something that's like really quick.
Yeah.
And then you join a sport like jiu-jitsu where you don't get your blue belt for like 2 years.
Yeah.
18 months is the minimum, right?
Yeah.
But like I think probably the average is probably 2 years if you even make it.
Yeah, if you make it. Yeah.
Right.
The reason I clipped that, that blue belt thing was
Stir the pot.
That was like the Friday after promotions. I'm going to tell what is in hindsight a very embarrassing story, but I showed up to that promotion, right? And I had been going like real consistent. I've been training for a year and a half, almost a year and a half mark. And for like about like 3 to 6 months prior to that, I was pretty consistent. I mean, I was going to the 6 a.m. 3 days a week. I was really on it. And I was like, and I thought to myself, maybe I think I could get my blue belt. I just thought to myself, like, I've been consistent. I've showed up. Like, I think I could get my blue belt. And I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to get my blue belt. Like, I didn't anticipate it, but I was like, I think I could, right? And during promotions, I sat there and I got my second stripe, and I was, like, super grateful for that. I wasn't disappointed I didn't get my blue belt, but then Tom said, he brought up that stat, right? And then I looked in the room, and there were, like, 8 blue belts, 10 blue belts, a couple of purple belts, 2 brown belts.
Yep.
Everyone else was a white belt.
Yep.
And I was up at the higher end of the white belts with my second stripe, and I was like, wow, I was wrong. I was really wrong. I had no concept of how much effort I actually have to put in just to get my blue belt.
Yeah.
And so when you brought that up, I was like, yeah, I'm going to put this out there because I think that's one of the things that really does set jiu-jitsu apart is I mean, it is fucking hard to get a blue belt.
It is.
But to me, I want to be number 25 out of 1,400.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Right? Because I know when I get my blue belt, that's going to really mean something.
And I'm glad you brought that up because when I got my black belt, there was a group that got their black belt before I did. And I was like, well, that's interesting. That's cool. I'm really proud of them. I'm really happy for them. But, there was something that happened in that moment. I'm like, okay, I see what they did to get their black belt, and I'm just going to do that. Okay? I'm just going to do that. I just modeled somebody else's behavior, and I just did that. And then, man, 6 months later, Nava is talking to me about a promotion. And I'm like, holy shit.
It worked.
And no, but it did. But then I wasn't in a group. I was alone. And that was a very special moment because it wasn't like 5 of us got our black belts. I got mine by myself. And had I been with that other group, I would have been so honored. I would have been not ready. But I would have been so honored. But
yeah, mine was sullied. I had Ruben and Tom.
Whatever. Yeah, no, but the thing is, like, if you think you got passed over, just wait. Because when your moment comes, it's going to be so fucking special. It's going to be the right moment. I can't describe it. Like, I can tell you people I got my blue belt with. I can tell you people I got my purple belt with. I can tell you the people I got my brown belt with. And those are just people I admired.
Yeah.
I just fucking admired them. And I was like, yeah, okay. So I held myself to a really a high standard because they did. You know what I mean? I just modeled other people's behavior. They just show up, dude. They don't fucking complain. Yep. They don't talk about a stripe. They don't talk about a belt. They just show up and grind. And I'm like, okay, cool. That's all I'm going to do. And it just works. It just fucking works, man.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have you had either one of your students or another student, maybe like at one of our sister schools or something like that, come up to you and been like, man, I should have got my blue belt or I should have got my purple belt or whatever. How many times have they been right?
0.
Right.
0. Yeah, they weren't ready.
Yeah. And like, it's always like, as parents for you guys, like this might be like very similar to that, where like, hindsight's 20/20, where you're trying to teach your kids how to be, good human beings. Like when you're a black belt, you're like, God, I wish I was a blue belt longer. God, I wish I would have been a purple belt longer.
Yes, I miss that stupid gray white belt.
Yeah.
I miss it. I miss my white belt.
It's like so many people like end up like in this like getting up to the next goal, which is like, to them is that getting to my blue belt, getting to my purple belt, getting to my brown belt, then finally getting my black belt. It's like, that's not the point.
Yeah.
If that's what you're here for, you're missing the point.
You're missing the point. You know who really embodied
Clip
that? The guy that really embodied that was his name's gonna come to me at 2 a.m, but he used to tell me like he never gave a shit about a promotion, and I believe him. I believe him because he would just sit there. Like half the time he didn't show up to promotions. I mean, Gary Hatch was the same way. Gary Hatch never showed up to promote. He never got. Did he show up for his black belt?
Yeah, he had his whole family there. Remember?
Oh, that's right.
That was the only time his whole family just showed up.
But he didn't. He didn't show up for his brown belt.
Probably not.
I mean, purple belt. He wasn't even wearing a belt when he got his purple belt. Gary doesn't give a shit about a belt, and those are the guys you need to emulate. Those guys that just want to be better at jiu-jitsu. They want to beat you at blue belt if you're a black belt.
Yeah, it's like quit trying to be the best white belt or the best blue belt or the best purple belt. Just try to be the best.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this too, like where if you're a white belt and you're like, I'm the best white belt here.
Yeah.
I am tapping blue belts, I'm tapping purple belts. You're doing the same 2 moves.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You're not a blue belt.
Yeah.
You're a really good white belt. Congratulations.
Greg McClarty is a brown belt over at One Love. He's under Gustavo Dantes, but he trains over and he teaches over at One Love, BJJ in Phoenix. And the head guy there is a guy named Issa. And I'm trying to get Issa on the show, but he's so shy. And I'm just going to call him out every show until he shows up. But he was saying that Issa will tell his guys, I don't care that you win. I care how you win. And that's powerful when you're talking about jiu-jitsu guys, right? Because if you're throwing a triangle one move, and then you're throwing, an arm bar the next move, and then you're doing, a back take with a rear naked choke the next move, and then you're doing a bow and arrow, and then you're doing a heel hook, and then you're all kinds of shit that you're pulling out.
How are you? What tournament are they doing a bow and arrow then a heel hook?
No, I'm just saying, like in training, if you have a full arsenal, God, I wish he wasn't drinking. But if you have a full arsenal of stuff, that's what I care about. That I care.
Let's stir it.
I care
stir
how
that
you
pot.
win, right? I care how you win, not that you win. I thought that was pretty powerful.
I think on without saying names, on Wednesday, you and I were looking at the same one of my students.
Yeah.
Just like,
whoa,
wow.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
Yep.
And
good wow.
Yes, really good wow.
Like,
was it me?
Nah.
You don't show up to my class enough.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
he said one of the good students.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's
right.
the thing. There's people in my class that will go over the moves. They'll go over the motions.
Yeah.
Come to roll, they do the same couple things.
Yep.
This person that we were watching did 4 or 5 different. Like it's just like
throwing 4 or 5 different subs.
And and minuscule techniques.
Yeah.
This was in the 11 o'clock or 11:30, whatever you guys said.
Yeah, 11:30. If you want to learn the minuscule techniques.
Not quite throwing them at a blue belt level, but throwing them.
Yeah.
I admire that very much. I mean, yeah. And all names aside,
Yeah, and it was just, and I think I was watching them, and I looked up at Alex, and Alex was like watching from his computer, and and I think like this is what promotion.
Yeah,
I just see Alex completely missing it, and he looking over at him, he's like smiling. He noticed.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
But since we're here, well, I'm sorry, I got to leave you out of this one.
Sure.
No, just kidding. But let's talk about what you look for in a blue belt, because whenever I talk to my coaches, this.
Oh, good. I don't have to ask this question.
I always tell you guys, find me a blue belt and then find me a fast track. Right? Those are the two standing orders when we're talking about promotions. Yep. I want to know who's a fast track, and there may not be one.
Yeah.
Right? There very well could be, but I want to know who's ready and who's a fast track. Go.
I think for anybody to be a blue belt, I think you need to have an answer, even if it's a bad answer, at every position.
Okay.
Like, because there's too many times where you'll have someone like really fucking good, knows how to pass guard, knows how to, maybe knows how to, like, they can armbar everyone from close guard or whatever, like, but then they get mounted and they're stuck.
Yep.
It's like, you don't know how to get out of mount?
Yep.
You're not ready.
Not ready. 100%.
Like, you need to, like I said, of course you're not going to be able to escape mount like a black belt.
And I don't mean like throw your arm up so they try to armbar you and then you escape.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, fuck
that was.
I'm a hitchhiker. Armbar me. I'm a hitchhiker.
Yeah.
Wednesday, 11:30. We're doing the stick your arm up defense.
Jesus Christ.
But you know what I mean though. Like
Absolutely.
Like at least know how to the trap and roll.
Mm-hmm.
Know how to get the hips low enough. Scoot the leg, get the half guard or whatever. Like have an answer in every position. Like a couple of answers.
Yeah. I look at that. That's one of the obvious ones, right? If you
whoa, bro, I thought it was deep.
Nah,
everyone says that.
Everyone says that. No, but no, I love that because I look for mount escapes, side control, back escapes, stuff like that. But I also
I think those are more important.
Absolutely,
I think an athlete who knows how to escape bad positions but can't submit is much better than a guy who can submit everybody but can't escape a bad position.
Because all you got to do is mount you and you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
All your cool shit means nothing.
Right.
The second thing I will tell you is you've got to remember that we're not training to beat each other.
Yeah.
We're training for that guy outside of those four walls that doesn't know what we do, and we can just work them. So if somebody walks in Tojo's case, someone 5'1", like 200 pounds, and just fresh off the street, Tojo should just work him.
God, he just can't tell if he wants me to be like really small or really big.
Well, you're short and fat, so I mean the 200 was not cool. That was mean. But if somebody walks in, off the street, your size, your weight, you should just be able to handle them. Period. There is no question, right? And if you have a hard time with somebody, you're probably not ready, right? That's just the way I see it. They should be They should be submitted. They should have their back taken. They should be mounted. Other than that, you're just not ready.
I mean, I don't really. The only reason I don't agree with that is because I do agree with
because he got his butt kicked by the guy.
He did probably. Yeah, somebody just walked in and whipped his
I've
ass.
never gotten beat up ever. No, I don't think comparing people is ever a good metric.
No, but when you compare someone who's been training for at least a year to someone who's been training 0 days,
sure,
it should be an easy thing.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean,
some ASU wrestler.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that.
Well,
that's
that's
totally
always,
different.
That's
because that kid's been training since he was 5.
Yeah.
Right.
So I keep that in my mind all the time because you mentioned that a long time ago about what you look for in a blue belt, right? So I always keep that in my mind. I'm like, if some guy walked in off the street, could I handle him? Right? When I think about that. But does that, or when you say that, are you really just talking about Joe fucking Schmo, like just never been in a fight in his life, just pudgy walking off the street, or does that also include the guy who's got a little bit of wrestling in high school?
It's totally different.
Okay,
that's totally different because you can. That wrestler could stop training today, and I would probably not match his mat time by the time I die. That's all they fucking do is train. Since they were 5 years old, that's all they do. And when wrestlers come in, when somebody says, "Oh, I got 2 years of wrestling," he's got 1,000 hours of mat time.
Yeah.
I'm exaggerating slightly for effect, but he's got a lot of fucking mat time, right?
And especially if they said I wrestled in college.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's like, that's all.
Do you know? Okay, so I don't know this number, but it can't be big. How many people make a college roster, a wrestling college roster? Like fighters, like actual guys that get like matches. 8? 10? How many? Can't be that many.
I want to say there's 11. I think there's 11.
11 on a roster? Yeah.
No. Well, no.
For the weight class. The people who actually get matches, 11 guys? So the roster's got to be, what, 22?
Yeah.
Less than 30?
Oh, it's definitely 11. Yeah, it's probably about 20.
Think about
25.
that. I mean, there's a lot of colleges out there. I get it. But 30 people on a fucking roster? I mean, the only thing that I can think of that has fewer people is a basketball roster. They have like 14. That's hard to do, man. So if somebody says I wrestle in college, they are really good. I don't care if it's a D3. They are really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like in basketball, like, yes, there's less total players, but they're all playing for the same thing. Like, it's all like, oh, you're on the team. But like in hold on.
No.
In wrestling, it's 1 or 2 people because you're talking about at featherweight. At whatever weight.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're not competing with, the guy at the very bottom weight class, right? It's a completely different. There's only 1 or 2 people that can
You're talking
fit
about
that
weight
role.
classes,
Yeah. So I think that's what I'm saying. Is I think it's even more prestigious than you're even making it out to be.
Yeah.
And I said I try to walk on Division II college wrestling.
How'd that work out?
It was so humbling. It was, and this is something that I had done for 14 years.
Yeah.
And like you said, mat time.
Yeah.
You're thinking high school, college, even kids. I remember I was practicing 5 times a week.
Yeah.
2 hours
Every
a
day after school, right?
Yeah.
Every day after school.
Yeah. And then it was like, when you get to the high school level, you went to high school before they actually kept an eye on the coaches and made sure they didn't kill you, right? So you're probably training a couple hours a day, plus weightlifting in the morning.
Two and a half hour practices.
Yeah, that's brutal, dude.
Oh, that sounds scary.
Yeah.
Brutal. Yeah, it's brutal, but you get good. And what I love about wrestling, I never got the opportunity to wrestle. We didn't have a wrestling team in my high school, but what I love about wrestling, everything that I've learned about wrestling is there is a price for admission. I could take anybody off the street, teach them jiu-jitsu. Anybody can come in and learn jiu-jitsu. You can't just walk into a freaking college or a high school wrestling team out of shape and expect to learn technique. It's just not going to happen. You won't get through the conditioning.
And I think it's my high school too. But we were in the basement. It was a single level high school. They had us in the basement, and that's the way we liked it.
Yeah.
It was we're by ourselves. It was a team effort, but it was an individual.
How often did you get ringworm?
Oh, at least twice a month.
All the time.
You're disgusting.
Oh, like this?
Don't even say that.
No.
Cochino.
No, wrestling. I started when I was probably 5 years old, and you have your team, and you're hanging out with your team, and you're training with your team, but then you're just out, and it's just like jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
you're out there by yourself.
Yeah.
But it's just you just think it. That's a great point. It's the mat time.
Yeah, and there's a price to pay for admission. You have to show up in shape.
Yeah.
And I know guys that talk about when they did like other sports like track or whatever, they were just doing that shit to get ready for the wrestling season, which is like beginning of the year, I imagine, right? Can't imagine it's football then wrestling, I think. Yeah. So they did football to get ready for wrestling. They did everything to get ready for wrestling.
Every sport wanted wrestlers on their team.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think the biggest thing that sets a lot of wrestlers up from a lot of guys like a guy who has wrestling background and then a regular guy who walks in off the street is their willingness to fucking grind.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, that's because like I remember in high school, like I remember those guys that they were the ones like wearing a plastic bag all day and they're like, hey, I have to go run around the school so I can make weight or whatever. Like they were doing whatever they can, but you wouldn't see a football player doing that or a basketball player doing like that. And the thing is, it's like the nice part about being in a high school is if a kid is not willing to do that to like get where he needs to be, like for the the meet coming up this weekend or whatever it is, quit.
Yeah, find another kid.
There's another there's 10,000 students here. We can find 11 or 22 or whatever how many weight classes there are or whatever. We can find kids to fill this role. There's we have a batch of kids to pick from, and if you're not willing to do it, we'll find someone who is.
You know what's really interesting about wrestling is that it doesn't feel like to me, just like when I think about back in high school and stuff, I don't remember ever hearing about the wrestling team. Like I don't remember ever hearing anything about wrestling up until I started jiu-jitsu. And then when I talk to people who do jiu-jitsu, I hear about wrestling and how fucking hard it is and how much work it takes. And I'm like, no one talks about it. Everyone talks about the football team. They talk about the basketball team, but no one talks about
people
the
didn't join wrestling for the accolades.
Right. It's very much like
or for the recognition. I mean, there are accolades and they are
because if you think
earned.
about like all the sports, like you think in the fall you got football, winter you got basketball or hockey. In the spring,
we don't have hockey here, bro.
We do have hockey here.
Desert.
Yeah,
we have good hocky.
Mullet Arena.
Austin Matthews. But in the spring, you got baseball.
Yeah,
all those sports have professional
avenues.
Yeah.
Or like professional leagues that you can move towards.
Yeah.
With the exception of
wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. It ends at college. I mean, we had Aaron Simpson.
Yep.
It ended at college.
Well, he
continued to
tried,
coach, right?
He tried for the Olympic team. That didn't pan out. And then the UFC came calling, or was it WEC first and then UFC? And he went all in. But he was in his 30s, dude, when he started MMA. But he had a good record, but fuck, dude, that's long in the tooth.
He hurt my friend.
Oh, tell me about this.
Oh, Aaron and Red fought. In the UFC.
That's right.
Yeah.
In the UFC,
yeah.
Aaron ran. I don't want to say ran through him, but it was rough.
But the funny thing is, Red will use.
He hurt my friend.
Red will use.
I kick sand at him.
Red uses that picture of him after the fight where his face is just swollen up.
Yeah.
He'll use it as he'll give that as Valentine's Day cards for his kids class.
That's so great. I love that.
You know, like the
that's
Simpson,
just traumatic for kids.
The Simpson episode where it's I choose you. Red will put his face on the train and say I choose you. But no, I say, you know, there is professional wrestling.
Yeah.
And we have one of the best at Aries East Mesa
We do,
with John Williams, the Hawaiian Lion.
Yep.
But you know, you can't say I'm going to wrestling to make money.
Right.
You can say I'm gonna be the best basketball player. I'm gonna make millions.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the best football player. I'm gonna make millions.
Baseball. Yeah.
I'm gonna be a baseball player, make millions. You're like, I'm doing wrestling. I might get a piece of metal.
I'm gonna play soccer and complain about how little money I make.
Fake injuries.
Yeah.
I guess you could go Premier League and they make good money, but
yeah. I always, as much as I love a wrestling class, I want to come to one of Chris's classes dressed like a professional wrestler and then just walk away like, oh, amateur stuff.
Like Ultimate Warrior type thing.
I'm gonna wear like a luchador mask. What, takedowns? You mean body slams?
Yeah, Chris was an ASU wrestler. Mm-hmm. He and his brother. Yeah, he's very accomplished.
I want to thank Chris. He helped me a lot for my fight to win fight. Like that's why I was hoping.
Way to go, Chris.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Thanks.
Unbelievable.
But we
blame Chris for the loss.
Yeah, we were ready for a big wrestling match, and Chris helped me for that. And then again, he said, "Who's the name of your opponent? I'm gonna check him out." And I showed you that text.
Yeah,
it was so long.
Yeah,
and that's just the mentality. That's like
he's a good coach. Chris is a good coach, man, and. Like, if you come to him for help, he goes all in. He is all in, and all of his students. He's such a great guy. And, you know, the only complaint I have about the wrestling program is that I don't have a kids wrestling program. And Chris is like, you tell me when and where. And he would do it. He would do it. I just don't know where to put it in the schedule.
My complaint about Chris is I still don't have a hat or badge.
Oh, from the fire department.
Yeah, from the
we
CPR.
Did the CPR training, yeah.
And I was promised the hat and badge.
You know what?
I don't have one.
I will not rest until you get that.
Thank you.
You know, I'm about to go on a trip to North Carolina. I want my wings.
Ooh, from Southwest?
Remember when you were a kid, they used to give you your wings?
Yeah, they don't do that anymore. Yeah,
and now you walk up to the cockpit, they say, "Sir."
I'm just here for my wings.
I think the pilot's armed, so you better not fuck around. What happened to Tojo? Yeah, he got shot on a Southwest flight, or no, Frontier would check out. Get shot on a Frontier flight, that checks out. Yeah.
Firing a firearm in a compressed box sounds like a smart idea.
Well, I think you could probably get away with that Frontier. Do they have seatbelts on Frontier?
Why the fuck would I know?
I don't know. I don't know. Do you fly?
They got warm. Cookies,
Everybody
right?
just holds hands when they take off.
It's a lot of prayer. I'm pretty sure the Gray that was a Frontier flight. If you ever saw that movie.
Oh yeah, with the wolves, and it ends on that
That's
like
a wild
cliffhanger.
movie.
You're like, did he die?
That's not a cliffhanger. He died.
He died. No, he might have fucking used the Force.
Maybe
that's Qui-Gon, bro.
Maybe, yeah. Oh my god!
When you
fucking nerd.
When you have kids come in who they're starting jiu-jitsu, but they'll tell you, I really want to do Muay Thai as well because I want to be an MMA fighter. And these are like 15-year-old kids. My first inclination as a parent is like, just do jiu-jitsu. You know, it's like, and not that I think Muay Thai is bad, but I'm like,
No, you should just punch him in the face as hard as you can.
Did
you like that?
Was that fun?
Yeah, let's just stick to jiu-jitsu.
I think people should be very careful how they introduce the striking arts to their kids. I think Taekwondo is one that's a pretty. I don't want to say easy, but they don't do a lot of striking to the head, which I'm all about. You can learn how to strike without striking to the head, but there is a way to do Muay Thai with and be safe, but you've got to find the right place. There's actually a guy. Gosh, why can't I think of his name right now? He's part of the Academy Kings that we do. He is he's like the head coach for coaches across the U.S. And he teaches coaches how to teach Muay Thai. And I think a lot of it is avoid brain damage. That's the obvious thing, right? But how do you avoid brain damage and still spar? Well, I don't know. I don't know that answer. I bet there is a way to do it and do it safely. So
there's no like tap out equivalent.
No. I would never say that, okay, we're going to start a Muay Thai program and I'm going to teach it because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I don't know how to keep people safe and do it. You know, I can throw some kicks, throw some punches, watch some videos, and maybe teach you some shit, but it's going to be very limited. I would ask the parents to do a ton of research and be very careful how they choose their instructor. It's just like finding a boxing coach. If you find a legit boxing coach, your kid can box for a long time, and they'll get a lot out of it and it'll be a really positive experience. But if they get somebody like me who just like decided, I'm going to open a boxing gym today, their kid's going to get hurt, right? Yeah. And that's permanent shit. That was brain damage shit.
I had a conversation with a kid on the mat once at an open mat, and we were talking, and he was telling me he's like, man, I love this so much. It's so cool. It's so exciting, but I can't afford to do both this and Muay Thai. And he's like, and I want to be an MMA fighter, so I don't want to give up Muay Thai. And I told him, I was like, listen, man, just focus on jiu-jitsu, because when it comes to Muay Thai and it comes to striking, like, that's brain damage.
Yeah.
Like, you're like in jiu-jitsu, you can go 100, 110%. You can give everything you have.
That would be 100.
And you walk away. And like, you can walk away with.
I thought the stats guy would know how percentages work, but apparently not.
All I know is viewership. That's the only thing I know.
I give like 30. Like today, I'm going to give it my sum.
Yeah. Like you can give absolutely everything, and then you can walk away and like still go to school the next day.
Yes.
I was like, if you give everything in Muay Thai, man, you might get hurt. And I was like, you're young. Like, just if you focus on jiu-jitsu now and then maybe start Muay Thai later, you'll be in a much better position. Like, that's kind of what I tried to tell. And again, I don't really know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't either.
But at the same time, it's just like, to me, the thing when I hear kids there, and there's a lot of kids out there, man, I think, who are like, they look at MMA and they're like, that was fucking rad. I want to be an MMA fighter. But they're not thinking about what that's going to do to their brain 20 years from now.
Yeah.
To be fair, that's why that's probably the mentality for all of like the best of the best Muay Thai fighters, MMA fighters. Like, if they're the ones that are thinking about, if you're thinking about brain damage, you're not going to be the best.
Right.
Yeah. But at 15 though,
that's the reality of it, though. I mean, that's same with football, right? Football is all. Fighting's obvious, right? Because you're getting hit in the head, but like, we're all like, I mean, that's been like nothing but what's on the news, right? Is like all the CT that, like, you know, they're dealing with football players. It's like, and we push that on kids at young ages.
Yeah.
Right?
Really young,
right? I mean, every
and
time
I wouldn't
those
let my
kids
kid play football. Like,
Right.
I wouldn't let Dax play football. No way.
Right. But I mean, that's why it always ends up being like these kids who came from like really shitty backgrounds where like, I'm grasping at this last straw to pull myself up out of this like like poverty, basically, right?
Yeah.
And those are the kids that end up being the best, is the ones that like throw their whole life into it, and you know, some pay the price and some don't.
Yeah.
I would say most probably pay the price and some don't.
Yeah.
But that's the reality of it if you want to be the best at something like that.
Yeah, and if you grew up in, this is going to sound awful, but if you grew up in a 2-parent household with everything handed to you, chances are you're going to get the shit beat out of you, because there's a kid out there who doesn't have anything that you have, and all they're thinking about is like, my mom's working 3 jobs, and this is my way to get her to not work 3 jobs. You're going to get your fucking ass kicked.
Clip
I'm
that.
sorry.
I can't wait for someone to bitch about that.
Well, I agree.
I
with
had
that.
great parents, and I'm doing really good.
No, I'm not saying you can't. I'm not saying you can't. It's just very unlikely.
Yeah,
It's very unlikely that
That guy has got more to fight for than you do.
he's hungrier than you
Yeah.
are. hungrier.
If you don't know true poverty, I don't think like when someone has really like lived a life of poverty, they just have a different drive.
100%.
They just because they've it's like they've been there.
They know what the bottom looks like.
They know what the bottom looks like, and they don't. They're like, I will give my life to get out of that.
Yeah. And like,
or to not go back. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's, obvious examples are a lot of the football players, out there that, they give their Hall of Fame speech, and the Hall of Fame speech sounds pretty freaking common, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had a mom that worked 2 jobs. They barely saw her. And, I can't remember who it was, not very recent, maybe in the last five years, but he was saying like, all he wanted to do was make sure that no man put their hands on his mom ever again. Because he went to do like stepdads and boyfriends and all that shit. And he said, he was one of the younger siblings, but he took that responsibility that he was going to be the one to get them out of that situation. And he did. And God help you if you got in his way. If you're some freaking quarterback who had everything, I don't want to say handed to him, but he had a pretty damn good life. This guy's
probably thrown to him.
Yeah. This guy's going to kill you, to get what he has to do what he has to do. So, yeah, I mean, it's a very different. How do we get on the subject? This is getting morbid. This is getting horrible.
I was going to talk about MMA too, because I came from MMA schools.
Okay.
And that's when I started training at Henry's.
Training kids. That's what we get.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. There's no loops here, man.
Yeah.
It's just spirals.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And training at Reds too. Henry's had a rule. You had to be a blue belt to train with the MMA team.
Okay. That's a great rule.
And it was. Or a really good looking white belt.
Yeah, but honestly, like to our point earlier about like what
good
it takes. Yes, you have to be good looking.
Yeah, it helps. It helps
because I want to ugly you up.
Because if you're gonna lose, you better lose looking good.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
No, but like being able to defend yourself in every position is kind of like what we're looking for as a blue belt. If you can't defend yourself in every position, you have no business being in a ring where someone can hit you from that position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being mounted and not being able to do anything about it?
Just getting your head smashed in. Yeah.
Bad.
But yeah, training at Henry's, I remember helping Red. Red was fighting his first UFC fight, and I got to help because he was going against a wrestler. I had no idea what I was doing, and it's just you think jiu-jitsu and grappling is complicated. Now throw strikes and kicks, and
Knees.
it's so different. And I would say it's easier to learn how to punch and fight and kick after you know how to grapple.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have to choose as a kid, if you're 15 years old and you said, I don't know, I can't afford both, I would say do jiu-jitsu.
Where should they go and do jiu-jitsu?
Aries East Mesa.
There you go. I was going to let Colin hang on the wind there. For
11:30.
11:30 class,
Friday.
Monday through Friday. Yeah, gi and no gi. Just so you guys know.
Hey, just so you know, we were just at Safeway and Alex threw out Aries, Arizona.
I did. I always ask where they live.
Sell out, bitch.
I asked where they live. So this kid, Isaiah was.
Hopefully, you're gonna listen to this podcast someday.
Yeah, he was a checkout guy.
I'll let him know.
And he said, he goes, hey, do you train there? And he goes, he owns it. So we were. He was. I think he said he did jiu-jitsu for a minute.
That's what he said. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh no. He goes, you need to check out this place, and he points at Tojo.
My logo's smaller.
Yeah.
Mine's smaller. I'm not compensating like Alex's.
So I got to do something. Big logo, small everything else. But no, I just said, I said I got my black belt there. You should go train there, and hopefully.
He didn't say we though, fucking bastard.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't. Yeah, I'm selfish.
I'm not willing to be like I'm a black belt, like he is.
Well, but
but he owns an academy.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You gotta sell it, man. Anyway,
I know you're too new. There used to be like purple belt owners of gyms and
back in the day.
Oh yeah,
back in the day.
Yeah, I've heard the rumors.
Losers.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Well, when I started, there were no black belts.
Right,
in the state of Wisconsin.
You were Wisconsin 2005. There was one black belt.
No,
zero. Who was the first?
Henry Matamoros.
That's right.
And he got it after I left.
And then when did Red get his
because you
black
left?
belt?
Probably because they left.
Yeah.
Thank God you
Schaefer,
got rid
right?
of him.
Red Schaefer.
Red Schaefer got his. There was was Henry first, and that was, I mean, he was so well respected. That was
Of
like
course.
he earned his like that. I think he was also the first Costa Rican to get a black belt.
Okay.
As well.
Okay.
And then the second group.
You got to make pee-pee?
No, I need water.
Okay.
The second
Coward.
group was.
There's
Uh,
plenty of water in this.
There's some cold ones in that fridge downstairs.
I
Yeah.
have to hydrate like a motherfucker because I train 2 times a day.
This is 55% water.
Hey.
Red, John Friedland, who you talked to, Josh.
Yep.
That's who he got his black belt from.
Josh was probably one of my favorite guests. You undersold that guy, and I'm really, really surprised. It's probably my fault because my interview it sucked.
Oh, it was a good interview.
But he
carried it.
He is a very interesting dude. I told him to. I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm gonna pull the string. You run with it. That is an interesting cat.
What's his
dude.
last name? Josh who?
Oh gosh,
No,
Josh. Don't do this to me.
You fucking
same thing.
bastards. You don't even know. Did you even interview him?
I did.
Did this
No.
podcast even happen?
Josh Janis.
Janice, yes. He is one of the more interesting guys I've ever met, dude. You'd like him. He's a really cool dude. Yeah.
When you first started the podcast, he was one of the first names, and I probably just knew just that little bit about him. When you say I undersold him,
When I started interviewing him and he started talking, I was so fucking mad at you. I was like, dude,
you called me immediately after it ended.
interesting cat. Yeah, really interesting cat.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
I just knew just a handful of stories from him, and I knew him. I probably trained with him at Henry's, and I didn't even know it because we trained right around the same time. And I didn't know he went down to. I think he said he's training with Dave Strasser or someone down in Kenosha. I didn't know that. I knew he trained with John. He's just a guy that doesn't suck at anything.
Right. Yeah.
You kind of hate him for it.
A little bit. Like he gets curious about things and then he lives it. Like he heard about people in Africa who traveled 10 miles to get water. Well, he found out there was a creek 2 miles from him, so he got his water from that creek for like 10 days just to see what it was like. So
I was gonna say like me, and then I was like, oh, I just make knives and and shit.
No,
yeah, I think you'd like him.
Yeah, like homelessness.
Yeah, he lived homeless for 48 hours, something like that.
Yeah, he lived solitary consignment, or just in a dark room by himself,
dark
with,
room.
like the same conditions. He's
Wild.
yeah. No,
That sounds so wonderful.
I think having that level of curiosity is pretty amazing. I think that's really cool. Yeah.
But no, yeah. So go back. Yeah, he got his black belt from John Friedland. So I think it was Red, John, and there was a guy, Dr. Tim. That's the only.
That's
I just know him as Dr. Tim.
Yeah.
Those three got their black belts in, I want to say 08 or 09.
Okay.
And then it's kind of exploded on
Wow.
since then. But for the longest time, and that's what it's so different training here as opposed to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
There's so many black belts here.
How at what point did Pettis come on the scene out there?
Yeah, sure.
And he's got a brother, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Pettis brothers.
Anthony and Sergio.
Yeah.
Man, I want to say early teens.
Okay.
Not on the
Okay.
copper.
That's
We need to tell.
Oh, we should talk about that though, about number of black belts, and I'm not going to mention names, but
Number of black belts.
just like talking about like watering down of
Oh, we
like
can't do that. Nah, I'm not going to go there. Hey, grab your fucking snot rag that you brought up so we can wipe this now.
it's actually a pooper.
Clean that shit up.
Whatever.
But not to say it's just, and it's different too.
Nah,
Because-
fuck it. We'll go there.
Because
Yes.
if I look at somebody
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
here in Arizona and their lineage,
Yeah.
it's 12 names.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like Red, Pedro, like Helio, like
Yeah. Like
and-
Jeff Cook. When Jeff Cook was on the show, I love that man. God dang it, I love that man. Really cool guy. But he got his black belt from John Crouch, who got it from Hoist Gracie, who got it from the Source.
yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
I don't know if I knew that Crouch got his from West Gracie.
Yep.
It's one of the things I like about the sport is that the lineages can be so
Say
short.
martial art.
Martial arts, sorry. Okay.
Thank you.
Something else.
It is a sport. Fuck you.
It's a martial art.
I just say jiu-jitsu though. It's one of the things I love about jiu-jitsu is that
The sport of jiu-jitsu.
the lineages can be so short. The source is not far away.
Oh,
Well, it's not 1,000 years old. Well, it is 1,000 years old, but it was revolutionized less than 100 years ago.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Like this year.
I
with you, yes, it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
11:30 at Aries East Mesa. Revolutionized jiu-jitsu.
Just
Yeah.
stand up.
But you know,
just stand up.
when I put out those the videos for the move of the week, I love to research it, and I do it every single time, even though I've already done it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just love what I find, man. I love that these things date back to 1,000 years ago in Japan, and but it always goes back to, they always give homage or whatever to the Gracie family who revolutionized it and turned it into what it is today. But it started 1,000 years ago,
Yeah.
which is pretty incredible. I mean,
Yeah.
it was one of those things where like it was never taught outside of families until pretty recent. You know what I mean? And I think that's the beautiful part about jiu-jitsu. It's like we're going in such a new direction where it's literally like Gracie Baja says, jiu-jitsu for everyone. It's really getting there. It's really getting there. Now it's up to us to be the caretakers of it and make sure that we don't get it there in a negative way, right? And we were talking about this, fuck it, we're going there.
Yeah.
Watering it down. I don't believe that it's watered down. I think it's different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's different
Well, I
than
mean,
it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's for everybody, but like we talked about it earlier about like one of the worst things you can do is like really compare yourself to everybody even in like within your belt.
Yeah.
There's so many things you can break down. Like everyone has a different backstory and all that kind of stuff. It's like it just gets so gross when people are just like, oh, this person's not a black belt because I can beat him.
Yeah,
whatever.
comparison is a very ugly thing.
The thief of joy.
It is. And, I had a blue belt once when I was teaching over at Nava. I was teaching the morning class. And I used to open up early because some of those guys had to leave a little early. And I wanted my life to be a lot easier, so I'd invite the newer people early so I could teach them some shit.
What is this word early?
Yeah, I know. That don't
11:30 a.m. at Aries
Listen,
East
Like he
Mesa.
even knows anymore.
There's an empty bottle here. At 11:32 at Aries East Mesa. But there was a guy there. Shit, man. He was 56 or 57 at the time, and Darren Eyring. He's awesome guy, man. Worked his ass off. He was a linesman for electrical company, does a big power line shit. And he was sitting there, and he had like some imposter syndrome. He got his blue belt, and he was just sitting there going, I can't believe this is just ridiculous. And I'm like, what? He goes, you're having this blue belt. I'm not a blue belt. And I said, you know what, Darren? I said, I was a 2-stripe brown belt at the time. And I said, you know who else is a 2-stripe brown belt? Jake Watson. Do you think for a second that I compare myself to Jake Watson? And Jake at the time was a fucking phenom. I mean, he still is. He's just not as active as he used to be, but he can mop the floor up with me. I don't compare myself to that guy, and you shouldn't either. I'm really disappointed with some of the things that were said after the last Fight to Win, because I believe that I'm down to the white belt 1 stripe about this. If you don't line up in order by which I gave you your rank, that's an insult to me. That means you don't care enough about the rank that I gave you. Then
Holy
fucking
shit.
give the fucking stripe back. You can line up wherever the fuck you want. Go line up outside.
To be fair, the washing machine will do that for you.
Yeah, but I'm saying is if you're 2 stripes, I expect you to line up in the position in which I gave you that stripe, right? Because it means something to me. It means I saw something in you, and it's not just about you showed up every day, so you fucking get a stripe.
We've already talked about that about how. All right, there's a couple.
Am I getting angry? I'm getting angry.
Yeah, you should be.
You're getting intense.
Yeah.
Not
But
angry.
I'm
Keep it going. Keep it going.
Because I'll say someone's name. Joel.
Oh,
Joel's the worst about that.
He's the worst. No,
And I would say, I would feel comfortable him teaching classes at times.
Yeah.
He's an assistant coach.
he really is.
He
Yes.
really is.
Hold on, let me get to my points real quick.
Oh, no.
I need to
Hold on, let me pull up my
We're
spreadsheet.
gonna get thrown off the air here.
No, I'm not gonna throw out any names, but we've talked about a couple of things about what defines a belt level in general, right? And how to compare our expectations of our students. We don't expect our students to compete if they don't want to compete.
Correct.
Right? But if they want to compete, then fuck yeah, you better be all in on that.
You better be in. Yeah.
Yep.
That goes for black belts too,
100%.
ladies and gentlemen.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's black belts out there who have zero interest in ever competing, and that's fine. That doesn't make them less of a black belt. I think what defines a black belt is, one, putting in the time. And time doesn't just mean like I was a blue belt for 18 months. Because just because you held a blue belt for 18 months doesn't mean you were a blue belt for 18 months.
Right.
You had to have been training for 18 months or 2 years or whatever it is before you get your purple belt. We've talked about that before. Where
I was a purple belt 8 years, bitch. You were not.
Yeah, you trained a total of 18 months. Yeah, right. So that's so putting in the time, you put in the time and the effort, you learned the skills. And I think just because you have learning the skills is more important than being able to like have that conditioning to implement those skills as far as what quantifies a black belt versus a brown belt or a purple belt. Now, you have all those skills. Now, if that same black belt that you say isn't shit because he can't beat you and he has all of those skills, he puts in the effort to get his conditioning up and drills all of that, all the same techniques that he already knows, now he's more competitive. Right? Because that's the only thing that's separating when you're talking about competition. We always talk about this. It's like all other things, skill to skill. If that's equal, you need to have be the guy with the better conditioning.
That's the foundation of it, though. As a martial artist, or as any kind of competitor, or regardless of competitor or not, if you are going to advance in martial arts, the basis of it is be physically fit. That is the foundation of it. You can't do a damn thing. You will not attack if you're tired.
Right.
You will not attack if you're tired. You will not go above and beyond. I tell people, guard retention and guard passing is the same principle. You have to be willing to do one more thing than they are.
The only reason I disagree with that is if you take a physically fit guy and a like a brand new guy knows zero jiu-jitsu, physically fit, and you take an out of shape black belt, I bet that out of shape black belt.
No. No. Don't misunderstand me. I will never make that comparison because I could, with the fucking flu, I'll beat somebody off the street.
Right.
But if you take black belt versus black belt, 50-year-old versus 50-year-old, if I'm in better shape, I am going to whip your ass.
Yeah.
I'm going to whip your ass because I'm going to do one more thing than you're willing to do because you're tired.
Right.
You're going to lay flat on your back and be like, fuck, as I'm passing your guard.
But that doesn't make that other black belt not a black belt.
Oh, 100% it doesn't.
Yeah. Right.
But the foundation of it, the very principle of it, if you're going to be a black belt, if you're going to be a blue belt, if you're going to be a purple, whatever the fuck it is, you have got to get yourself physically fit.
Yeah. No, I think you owe it to your jiu-jitsu, but I don't think it's as foundational as the skill and technique is.
Man, I think it's the number one thing. The number one thing. Because you cannot possibly defend your family. You cannot possibly defend yourself if you're not physically fit.
Yeah, you're thinking of it from
martial artist.
Yeah, from the fact of being a martial artist.
Yeah. What the fuck else are we doing?
It's a sport.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, you don't have to be physical fit to get an advantage.
That's a good point.
No, but I mean, like, I think especially after blue belt, I think it's a lot more about skill development.
Yeah.
But yeah, in order to put that skill to use, you have to be fit.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely, yeah.
100%. Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's a lot like being like a guy who teaches medicine and then being a doctor.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Like if you're not actually doing surgeries, you're just reading out of a book and spitting it out. But like you still know the information. That's you know what I mean?
Yeah. Agreed.
So what's your breakdown per belt? Like
As far as what?
What's the requirements of knowledge for like general?
Well, so like we already kind of mentioned, like I think that person that like we talked about blue belt having an answer at every position. I think that person could use all of those techniques from there to black belt, but they just get more precise and more. there's no we've already talked about this. No black belt techniques. There's just techniques performed at a black belt level.
Yeah.
I think you just get better at performing. Like we talk about the like Kron Gracie. Like
get cleaner.
Oh, he will armbar you from close guard.
Yeah.
Right? Just a basic armbar. Like we use it as a drill. It's not even something you would teach during technique.
Yeah.
It's a drill. But he can fucking do it at the highest level because he's done it a million times. Right? It's just like knowing the intricacies of a position so instinctively. Like at that point, you're not even thinking about like, okay, I need to pull the arm over here. I have the collar. I'm breaking his posture. My leg goes over his head. I'm biting down on the back of his head, not his back. Like you're not even thinking about that stuff because if you have to think about it, you're too slow.
Yeah. And I think once you're at a purple belt level or you think your student is at a purple belt level, I think a real telltale sign is when they're talking about systems and concepts and not just moves.
Yeah.
If they're talking about systems and concepts, okay, they get it, right? Because I don't expect them to be a world-class teacher, right? But they should be able to communicate what the goal is, right? Are we arm barring or are we really isolating an elbow? Big difference, right?
Yeah.
Big difference. So, I mean, you can throw an arm bar and not isolate the elbow and I can escape it. Or you can isolate the elbow so well that you gain an armbar out of it.
Do you ever do this to your students when you roll with them? Something I like to do is I'll put them in a bad spot where I know they know the answer and see how quickly they go to that
absolutely.
answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. So if they understand that in order for me to attack their arm, I have to have control of the head and shoulders, and they do their damnedest so that I can't have control of the head and shoulders, okay.
They're thinking about the concepts.
They're on the right track. Yeah, they're on the right track. So that's where my brain goes.
Yeah.
When I talk about the difference between a blue belt and a purple belt.
Which is obviously really subjective. And like to your point earlier, you were talking about like you're gonna ask like what do you see in a blue belt? It's so hard to actually quantify that, right? And for someone who like stats guy over here, there's not a number system. Yeah, there's not a numbers to that. Like it's not like you do 1, 2, 3 and now you're a blue belt. It's very subjective.
It is subjective.
Yeah. It's funny that you say that because I get a lot of people telling me when I train, a lot of like all my coaches will tell me like they're like, you're a really analytical guy. You think about everything really deeply, but there is a certain unquantifiable factor, I think, that goes along with it.
So we were talking about, you kind of mentioned rock climbing. So a big thing in rock climbing is the grading system. So grading system meaning the grading the difficulty of a rock climb. Okay. Super fucking subjective because people, for one thing, people have different strengths. Men versus women. Men want to get really gymnastic, jump to making big moves. Women are really technical and they'll do like these tiny little holds and they'll do really technical movements. So I might think a move is really easy because I'm just going to fucking jump past the hard part, right? So this route's really easy to me, right? And to the woman who's like smaller and doesn't have the power to like blast through a route like that, they're going to do these like a series of small, intricate, really technical movements to get through that thing. She'll get through it, but she'll think it's more difficult, right? And I think jiu-jitsu's a lot like that in that like, so what it ends up being like, so what is a blue belt is the sum of, I mean, it ends up, I feel like we keep going back and forth on like, you don't compare people, but you do compare people.
No, keep going. I love the analogy. Keep going. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So it really, and this is why if you have a coach that doesn't roll with his students, he can't tell you. He can't tell you, right? You know what a blue belt is based off of I roll with hundreds of blue belts.
Yeah.
And there is some quantified part where, like I told you, like if you have an answer for like all these positions, that's minimum.
Yeah.
Right. But I also know what it's like to roll with 15 featherweight blue belts. And then here's this white belt who's a featherweight. And I'm like, you're not in that bracket yet.
Yeah.
You're not there yet. Like, and like I said, that's not the answer a lot of people want to hear because it is comparing you to your peers.
Yeah.
But what more is there? That is what competition is.
Yeah. And you know, along those lines, when you're talking about rolling with your students, there is some leeway there because there are blue belt mistakes, right? So you may be rolling at a blue belt level as a white belt, but if I'm so critical of you that I think, man, you're doing this, you're doing that, I may lose the big picture, right? You're probably really good at processing a lot of information, which is what I expect out of a blue belt, but I'm holding you back, not holding you back, but I'm criticizing the fact that you're making mistakes when they are still blue belt mistakes. So when I train with a blue belt, other than Ikaika, who thank God is now a purple belt, he will make the blue belt mistake here and there, but it's not as common, right? And all of the mat time he spent, he dedicated his life to grappling, so he should beat us. He should. I mean, he's just that freaking good.
He can't take me down.
Hey, Kaika, I hope you're listening, buddy. Please take him down. Please take him down.
Yeah, try.
But you know, I need to allow you that leeway. Like, yes, he is making some mistakes, but he escaped the mount. He escaped a back control. You know, I've got to give you that leeway. But don't take that as an excuse, right?
Right.
We got to tighten everything up, because by the time you get to purple belt, here's what you have to understand as a white belt. By the time you get to purple belt, you are you're figuratively a black belt that hasn't put in their time yet. You have to understand and be able to articulate every little detail in every movement to a point where all you're doing now is just buying your time till you get your black belt.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, so asking what a blue belt is, fuck a blue belt, because a blue belt is still a beginner belt.
Yeah.
A purple belt is not an advanced belt.
Don't tell that to a blue belt, though.
Yeah. Well, when we started, if you got a 2-stripe blue belt in the room, you're like, holy shit. I can
Or let alone a purple belt.
Yeah, dude. A purple belt was visiting from
Brown belt
school.
was like, he's teaching a seminar.
Yeah. So brown belt was like, they were going to roll with Paul and we're going to watch.
Yeah.
That was literally it. That's all.
We had Henry. Red was Henry was a 4-stripe brown belt.
Yeah.
Red was like a 1 or 2 stripe brown belt. There's a guy B.O.B. I think was a brown belt.
B.O.B. You just
that's a whole.
Don't fucking say it.
No. His name was Bob. He was the guy that came up with everyone's nickname.
Oh, okay.
That was his job.
That was his job.
If he couldn't come up with a nickname, he didn't get his next
if
belt.
Henry walked in, he would call me Burgundy. I don't think he knows my real name. Because B.O.B. gave me the name Burgundy because I came in with a mustache.
The mustache, yeah.
By the way, your mustache was a big hit at Fight to Win.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. The funny thing about this, I was talking to Ken after the match, and he did awesome. He did great.
Yeah.
He beat me. He got his arm raised. I was taking pictures with so many people. So who actually won?
I agree.
Who actually won?
I agree. You were the social media winner at the night. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're gonna lose.
We already talked about you have to look good.
Lose virally.
Yeah, lose virally. Yeah, I love it.
Obviously, I worked on my technique.
Did you?
I had a plan of attack.
Bad plan.
My attack was.
What was your plan? Lose?
Jesus Christ.
No, his plan was, I'm going to out-fitness the fitness guy.
Yeah.
That's full circle.
That was fucked up. I'm so sorry.
I was going to out cardio him.
Oh, this guy who his job is fitness?
Yeah.
It's even in his fucking Instagram name?
Yeah.
I'm going to out-fitness him.
No, where were we going with this?
I don't know.
Sorry.
Bob, I think.
Instagram,
BLB.
losing virally. Yeah.
Oh, my plan?
Yeah, your plan.
My plan was to attack.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
Attaboy. The plan of attack was to attack?
But no, yeah, but to go back, yeah, we had 3 brown belts. And like 3 or 4 purple, and we were like probably the best jiu-jitsu school in Wisconsin.
Wow.
And we had I want to say 3 purple belts.
But is that 2005?
That was 2005.
Okay, yeah, that's
and
way
just
back.
and just seeing that, and I think I told you that when I got my brown belt, I remember starting. I'm like, I can't wait to get my brown belt because I didn't even fathom.
Yeah,
black belt.
Here, I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Purple belt from 2005, purple belt now. Who wins?
It depends.
Size and everything all the same, just skill level. Like if you go to Master World or if you go to Worlds, purple belt.
Okay, so adult, starting when they were kids.
All other things the same.
All other things the same. Today's purple belt wins.
Yeah.
And IBJJF.
And the reason I bring this up is
now
like,
a street fight, totally different.
Yeah. No. The reason I
2005 guy.
Totally different.
Elaborate.
So back in 2005, right? As you get closer to the 1990s, it was all about fighting on the street. It was about going into the Kung Fu dojo and beating the shit out of their black belt. It was not about winning by advantage at IBJJF.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm sorry, but that's what it is today. It's about winning a world championship no matter how. No one cares how you won it. It's that you win it. And listen, I am not bagging on anybody training jiu-jitsu today. They're fucking amazing competitors, amazing people. It was just a different era. It might as well be 1,000 years ago.
And that's
very different.
Yeah.
And one of the things I appreciate training under Red is he would teach a class. We would have someone training to go to Worlds. We had someone training to go to an EBI.
Mm-hmm.
We had someone getting ready for a fight.
Yeah.
So if he's showing a technique, he's showing it 3 different ways.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah. Like, oh, you want to do, arm bar? Set this up. You're going to grab the gi here. And you're going to pull it down. Okay, you're going to do EBI. All right, you're going to, fish hook them.
You're going to rubber guard your way.
Yeah, you're rubber, yeah. And then
EBI wasn't a thing in 2005.
Well,
How dare you?
Stats guy over here.
Yeah.
Was it?
I say
EBI is pretty relatively new because he.
in 2005, I was training under Henry, not under Red.
Stand by.
I'm still on fish hook.
Okay. Great technique. Aries East Mesa, 11:30
Your wife will
class.
love it.
No, it was under when I was talking about Red, like how he trained like 3
Yeah,
different.
how he show 3.
Yeah,
3 at a time.
he
No,
would
I
show-
see your point. That's cool.
and that's probably the early 10s.
No, but the point that I was actually trying to get to is that, like,
2014.
you fucking
For
bastard.
That's when he
EBI?
found it. Yeah,
Well, I
that's
was,
when he found it.
but
Alright,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Wait,
2010s. Yeah,
was I right?
you're not.
Yeah,
we're
I
both
was.
right.
We will never admit.
It was in 2005 when I was training under
Right.
Henry.
Right.
When
You
I was
said
training
under Red.
Under Red.
Whatever, cabron. But no. My point is that, like, the fact that there's so many more black belts now, like, because like we were talking about earlier, it was like if we saw another purple belt or a brown belt, we're like, fuck yeah. There are so many more brown belts, black belts. There's so much more knowledge out there to learn quicker. So people are like learning from people who've been black belts for 20 years or more.
Yeah.
Right. And so that, people don't realize, a lot of people don't, like, under like brown and below don't realize this. It's like, once you get your black belt, you realize that your peers have been black belts your entire jiu-jitsu career.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And I
it's
was-
fucking weird.
It's awesome.
I have a friend, and anytime I get promoted, he sends me the same text. Like when I got my brown belt.
Is it a dick pic?
Well, besides that, that's beyond that.
Second text.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Second.
that's the second.
He
text.
just wraps a belt around his dick.
The first one is always someone has to be the worst brown belt.
You told me about that.
Yeah.
You told me about that.
But I also know when someone gets promoted that he doesn't like,
Oh.
because he'll say he'll send it out like on social media. What do you think? Someone needs to be a brown belt, or what's the and I can tell that's when that's what picks him. And that's where you get the difference. There's a brown belt that I want to compete Master Worlds as a black belt in 2 years. So I need this brown belt, and I need to win brown belt worlds. There's also a guy who I love jiu-jitsu. I love to learn jiu-jitsu. I love to learn all the different techniques. I love to I want to develop my game, but I'm just going to do this because I love it. I'm not going to compete. Because there was a guy I trained with. He was a white belt, and he was a firefighter during during the training period. He separated his shoulder, and he had to tough through his firefighter training. He almost got fired, but he still wanted to do jiu-jitsu.
Wow.
But he also wanted to, like, a firefighter was his
There was
job.
no return on investment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was very careful about who he trained with. He would tell people no.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
you want to roll? Nope.
Yep.
I'm gonna roll with this guy. 'cause this
Everyone listening, you have the right to
100%,
say
yeah.
no.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't roll with
And
anybody.
I
you're not
respect
comfortable
that
I
from
hear
him.
it all the time. It's like when I'll be like, "Hey, you want to roll?" And they'll be like, "Well, you're a black belt. I have to." I'm like, "No, you fucking
with. No,
don't."
you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and that's very very important.
Yeah.
This guy, he's testing for his black belt under Pedro Sauer real soon. It took him a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But his knowledge base is amazing. He's
Yeah.
been training for 12, 14 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, he said no because this is not his job. He's not making any money
Right.
with jiu-jitsu.
It's his hobby. Yeah, there's
Right.
no reason.
Well, he'll do private lessons.
But there's also like you got to give people. I hate to say give them permission, but you have to assure them that they don't owe anybody anything.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have somebody like, especially someone who's been like a victim of assault, and they get like a feeling about somebody, they shouldn't have to roll with them.
Yeah,
No,
Absolutely not. I
Yeah.
mean, if somebody makes you uncomfortable, do not roll with them.
That's why I don't roll with Colin.
You
So
know,
that-
Colin, he touches me.
So
sometimes.
so two things. There's when you think about the person who just trains because they love the martial art and they want to get better at it, but they're not interested in competing. We have a great example of that in one of our own coaches, which is D.
Yep.
D's brown belt, and he says all the time, "I have no interest in training."
His
Or I have no interest in
competing,
competing. Training, he does all the time.
Yeah.
Competing.
Oh, I was
sorry,
giving
I'm
him
very-
a lot of. He came to
I'm
my class
very
the other
drunk.
morning.
his daughter called him out on that, by the way.
I know. Yep,
For
that's what he told
training?
me.
For competing.
Oh,
Yeah.
competing.
Yeah.
yeah.
She's
sorry.
like, "Why don't you compete, Dad?" I was like, "Yeah, Dad, why don't you compete?"
No,
But D also
is-
does.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite training
Yeah,
partners.
He
yeah.
does 75 tough,
Mhm.
right? Like 8-minute cold showers every morning. Read 10 pages of a complex book. Trains every single day. But he's not interested
No,
in
and that's totally
in
fine.
tournaments. Yeah.
I think we're gonna get him. Phoenix Open.
You think?
I think so.
That would be awesome.
I think if we push
I
him,
think he'd win it.
I think he would.
Yeah, I think he'd win it.
He would surprise a lot of people
Yeah.
who would be like, "This guy
Well,
doesn't have
there's no-
anything on his record."
There's no film on him.
I know. That's what I mean. They'll be
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this guy
Fucking
came out of nowhere."
perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's so good, and he's also so disciplined and
Mhm.
fit.
Oh, there we go again.
Mhm.
Fitness.
Yeah, if you're a competition,
So
you
wait,
need
what?
So the other thing.
What's that word again?
Fitness.
to. Fitness.
Fitness pizza.
Fitness pizza in my mouth.
But speaking on, you should never roll with someone. You have every right to say no.
Mhm.
How do you recommend that people handle something when they see somebody in the gym who maybe is executing techniques beyond their belt?
Yeah.
Doing things.
Fuck yeah,
just,
go for it, buddy.
Just to win.
So, let me start with why that is a thing first.
Mhm.
Okay. The reason that's a thing where you don't deny, a higher belt a role is because back in the day, jiu-jitsu academies were the size of this room and you had 10 black belts in there. Okay. And so all of the white belts and everybody else would sit on the wall and the black belts would say, "You come on up here," and they would get the first dibs. Right. And they
Yeah.
always had the right of way and all that other bullshit. Right. Things have changed. Probably
Clip
not.
that.
You're,
No, I just can't wait. I can't wait for the comments.
you're probably not going to compete against other academies that would otherwise not be your equal, right? Because I'm sure you have a small academy, you're successful, you're probably a very good black belt, you're probably a very good academy. However, you don't have that issue where you can't train, right? So the reason Tojo and I are really open about, dude, ask anybody to roll is we don't have the problem of mat space. We don't have that problem.
Mhm.
I could probably fit 50 on my mat space and maybe have an issue. I've had 40, no problems, right?
Yeah. It's your
Um,
6 a.m. right now, man.
Yeah, 6 a.m. 6 a.m. is murdering. I love it. But
Every once in a while you have to bump and the lower belts have to move, but it's like everyone's getting a roll.
Yeah. So to get to your point, and if I'm not mistaken, you're asking why it's okay to deny somebody a role.
Well, so I'm asking, how do you handle what are your opinions about or how do you handle someone who, if you see them executing a technique, say a toe hold when they're a no stripe white belt?
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is really important because I will avoid rolling with people who I know might shred my knees.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So how do you think
You and I might have different philosophy on this.
Yeah.
So how do you handle someone if you see a guy and let's say you roll with him and he toe holds you and he's a no stripe white belt and you're like, "Hey man, you shouldn't do that.
I would
That's
never-
a brown belt technique."
I would never do that. So
What do you mean you would never do that?
I would never tell anybody not to toe hold me because I'm a black belt. I should know it's coming.
Okay, but as a white belt.
As
Doing
a
it
white
to
belt.
another two white belts rolling.
So
Yeah.
let me just
Shut up, Colin.
let me just have this
Not
thought
my
real
podcast.
quick.
Coach Alex moment.
No, I have to walk
Sorry,
my
Dad.
way through this thought because there's a lot of really good opinions on this, and here's what I believe. I would rather people toe hold and do all kinds of craziness, reap in no-gi and heel hook and all that stuff as white belts before I'd allow them to wrestle. And here's what I mean. If you look at the majority of grappling injuries, they're wrestling injuries. It's somebody who doesn't know how to break fall, someone who posts their arm, breaks their collarbone, breaks their arm. Things like that are more common than any kind of blowing somebody's knee out in any kind of grappling injury. Now, here's what I would say. I don't like white belts, toe holding, knee barring, reaping, heel hooking, anything like that. But if you and I have a conversation before the roll and say, hey, I'm working towards X, if you want to do all this stuff, I'm cool. But if somebody does it out of the blue, I would tell them, hey, man, I don't do that shit. I don't know how to defend it. Tap right away. Tap right away. And make it like, if you know you're, as a white belt, you are superior to that new white belt, I would do a lot of catch and release. Okay? Here's a heel hook. I would just grab it, keep going.
I don't think most white belts are that mature.
No, I get it. I get
Well,
it.
I'm
Even a
thinking
4-stripe white belt.
I'm thinking more from a perspective of somebody who uses that technique as like
as their bread and butter.
Yeah, well, not even that, but just like they're just using it to win. They're just like, I saw this, and I'm like, I know a toe hold's effective, and all I care about is winning training. So I'm gonna rip this guy's.
As
ankle.
a coach, I would tell them white belt on white belt. I would not allow it. And now for a brown belt and above, have at it.
Right.
But
I always manage the expectation.
But understand that I'm going to do it too. I'm going to attack your shit too.
Oh, I fucking love it though. I love it when like a white belt like wraps up my fucking foot and like tries to toe hold me. I think it's fun because like I know that they don't know the mechanics well enough to finish me most of the time, right?
Yeah.
Every once in a while you know clock's right twice a day, right?
Yeah, right.
A broken clock's right twice a day.
Yeah.
But no, but like as far as my coaching goes, or not like teaching, I will teach every person in my, because I mean I have a strictly mixed levels class, right? It's not, there is nothing advanced as far as like the requirements for my class, right? So I will show like, all right, brown belt and above, I want this to be clear that the tournament wise, this is the expectation. You are allowed to do this, whatever it is, calf slicer, bicep slicer, toe hold, knee bar, whatever it is, right? The expectation is at brown belt and above, tournament only rules, IBJJF or whatever. I'll explain, like, you know, this is the history. You are allowed to do this in a tournament. Everyone else, you will get disqualified. Now, I want everyone to practice this, but I want you to communicate, and I want you to do it slowly because I know that you're gonna you're gonna get excited, and I know that you're gonna go fast, you're gonna jump on this toe hold, and you're gonna hurt somebody. Yeah, it's like as long as everyone is clear that if you're gonna play toe holds, we're gonna talk to each other and be like, hey, everything's game. Okay, cool. Yeah, and we're not gonna fucking play this like I'm gonna go 100% in, or we're gonna go slow. Yeah, like. The same catch and release idea. Catch and release idea.
I do the same too in my class. I say start learning the illegal moves when they become legal as a brown belt.
100%. Right.
Yes.
100%.
Yeah. So there's a saying. There's a saying, and I think that you like. So you said this, and I'm trying to remember. One of our coaches said this. It might have been.
It's probably me if it was smart.
Probably was you.
Yeah.
But they said that it's illegal before brown belt, but you need to get used to it now.
Yeah.
No, do you remember being a purple belt?
Okay, that was you.
Eddie Bravo said the same thing.
Yeah.
Eddie Bravo said you got to teach them like day one.
If you're learning at brown belt, you're behind.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing that scares me about it, like I have this, so I have this fear about it. Like
that's why it's important, I think,
to face it.
Yeah. Well, because they're not. They're all right. Objectively.
Yeah. Say more about that.
Objectively, a heel hook is dangerous. Objectively, an arm bar is dangerous.
I will say this too, though, and I say this in my class. You can get hurt giving someone a toe hold because it's a dangerous move.
Yeah,
it's also dangerous because you don't know how to react to it.
Correct.
Right.
And that's just as dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I say, even if you're going with a brown belt or if you're going with a black belt and you're a white belt, say I might go for a leg lock, and because if I'm not expecting it and I have an important fight to win,
right.
Yeah,
or something. But it's just important because I might not be expecting it rolling with you.
Yeah.
As a two-stripe
white belt.
Two-stripe white belt.
Be clear.
I just think communication is the key here.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
Right. 100%.
Like, and the more that we can expose people to the reality that, like, hey, white belt, you will be a brown belt someday.
Yeah.
Do you want to be that brown belt who's only been working on it since you were a purple belt?
And you're going, I think it's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
do you want to be that brown belt who's been working on it since they were a white belt and it's just been in your pocket? You might hate to hear this, and I've been here. I think a lot of what you're saying is legit, but a lot of times I think a lot of so say like I'm rolling with a brand new white belt and he like watched a YouTube video on how to heel hook and he tries to heel hook me in the gi.
Yeah.
I can still get out of that by tapping.
But no, but the thing is, like, okay, so this happened to me not too long ago. My focus has been gi, right? I care about I care about Master Worlds. That's the only tournament I care about. So a lot of my training revolves around gi. I do no gi at gunpoint, basically, right?
Yeah.
So I was rolling with Hector from Mexico.
Hector
From Mexico, and we were at Q's place, and it was a no gi round, and it was great round.
You fucking text messenger?
No. My battery's dying. I got to plug this in. But Hector.
Was your wife gonna text you? She's
No.
downstairs, bro.
But Hector, he did a calf slicer on me, and the reality is, how often do you get caught in a calf slicer?
Never, because I'm a
compared
pro.
to knee bar, compared to heel hook, compared to toe hold.
Slicers are by far the least common.
Yeah, please. But he caught me in one, and as I'm going down, I'm like, oh shit, tap. When I should have tapped, as soon as my body got turned,
Yeah.
I didn't recognize it. So same for a white belt going into a toe hold. They don't know it's coming. They don't know what it looks like. They don't know what it feels like. They don't know that it's not the ankle, but the knee that's going to get torn.
So that's a different point than what I was trying to make. My point is, like, I've definitely like rolled, like, I remember being like at brown belt where like maybe a blue belt. Like, it's very uncommon that a white belt's going to throw on like a knee bar or a toe hold or something, where I'll get caught in that position and I'm like I have that split second where I'm like, you're not allowed to do this, so I'm not going to tap to it. You know what I'm saying?
That's scary to me.
Right.
But
Which is, again, that's your ego.
yes.
It's like, shut the fuck up. If you're caught in a position, I don't care if it's not even a legit submission.
Right.
Like there was I was watching this Instagram reel where this guy was doing a move that is basically a sweep, where it kind of torques your knee towards the inside, and the guy's leg actually ended up popping. His knee popped, but it was a sweep. And people were like, "Oh, that's a fucking bully move." I'm like, it's a sweep position, and like if you're ever put in a position where you like as a black belt, you should know like this position is torquing on my joint in a position. Like you should have enough familiarity with like the mechanics of all of these movements. Like the reason this sweep functions right is because it's putting torque on your knee to the point where you either have to roll over and get swept, which again, ego, right? I'm not going to let this guy sweep me, or your knee's going to explode.
Yeah.
Right. And his knee exploded. Right. And that's one of those things. It's like, you have to be willing, like, this guy's torquing on my knee. And if I let it go, if I let him keep going, my MCL is going to pop or whatever. Yeah. Right. You have to have, it's fucking training.
Yes.
Just just be like, tap. And then have that conversation. Like, hey, FYI, like, I mean, you're a white belt, so you don't really get to necessarily like, have these instructional moments necessarily as much as like Alex or I do, or even Colin. Like,
right.
But like, it is important to teach those guys like, hey, that toe hold, fuck yeah, man, that was really good. Just so you know, you're not allowed to do that at a tournament, but fuck yeah, that was good. Or use it as a teaching moment, but tap.
I appreciate that a lot, because that's something that I've really been thinking about a lot recently. Is so first off, to all my white belt brothers and sisters out there, fucking tap.
Your brethren.
Fucking tap. If you feel anything is wrong, just fucking tap. It's training. Don't try to win training. Yeah. It's not worth it. It's not worth the injury.
Unless you're being choked, then go to sleep.
Yeah. No, but I mean, to your point, like, especially at white belt and blue belt, where you haven't quite figured out, like, because I don't know if you were here, if you heard Alex. So I was talking about like, this sweep position that this guy was doing in this reel, where it was like basically like where it turns your knee towards the inside and your leg comes to the outside, where you have two options: you accept the sweep and you roll over, or the guy blows your knee out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And as a black belt, you and I, or a brown belt even, would know that, like, the worst of the brown belts over here.
Lowly.
The worst brown belt.
Brown
But
belt.
you would recognize that, like, oh, the mechanics of this, the reason it works is because it puts my knee in jeopardy, and I have either two options: sweep or get tapped.
Yep.
Right? Or get hurt. Right?
Yeah.
So I guess you have three options. You can get fucking hurt. But
Don't
like,
get fucking
but
hurt.
white
Tap.
belts and blue belts and maybe even purple belts don't necessarily recognize that.
Right.
And this is why I say it in my class when I'm teaching a move that's illegal.
He's like, hey guys, prison rules.
But from the IBJJF standpoint,
Yeah.
Which is kind of like the North Star. Right?
I said a lot of the moves that are legal from white to purple belt, it's because damage happens before it hurts.
yes,
Yeah.
And that's the reason.
Especially.
So
That's a good point.
I was gonna ask, like, what's the difference? Like, why is a move illegal from, like, why is it only legal at brown belt versus why is, like,
Because the IBJJF is run by cowards.
no,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I can't wait for those comments.
No, but your answer there is super
I gotta
important though,
speak
because
Portuguese though.
I think we should be allowed to reap in the gi.
No, I think
Turn your
well,
fucking
I'm gonna
knee in.
repeat this for all my white belt brethren again. Damage happens before there's pain.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And any move that's illegals, it's because, like, calf slicer, your knee is gonna pop before you feel the pain.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And this is what I say.
I would disagree with calf slicers. Those fucking hurt.
They fucking hurt so bad.
Or
Yeah.
bicep
Bicep
slicers.
slicer, same
But you're
thing.
right. The
Yeah.
bicep slicer.
Heel hook is a perfect example because it's like nothing, pop.
Pop. Yeah. Heel hook. Your knee blows out and you're fucking done.
I tap after 3 pops.
My limit is 3.
Yeah.
You are the man.
And Kenny got all 3.
You have 4 main primary ligaments of your knee. I will give you 3.
Kenny's trying to fuck my shit up right now. God damn it, Kenny.
Yeah. God damn it, Kenny.
No, but I mean, like, I think I honestly I take it for granted. Like when I say like I think reaping should be allowed in the gi at brown belt and above. And the reason I put that caveat in is the same reason I agree with a lot of that stuff is you have to, like, you don't understand the mechanics of a lot of techniques until you're a brown belt, or everyone at brown belt should understand the mechanics. There are purple belts, blue belts. There's even white belts who understand the mechanics. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it's not an expectation.
Right.
But at brown belt, the expectation is that you understand the mechanics of twisting the ankle to the outside like that is going to put pressure on the MCL.
So if I could just interject real quick,
No.
my feeling about all of this, I agree with you guys. Like, tap. I agree that you should learn this stuff. I agree that.
You can agree with me.
Doesn't
mean you like
Colin
me.
has said
I
is
agree with you,
accurate.
Colin.
No, I
Thank
agree.
you.
I agree that teaching it early is a very beneficial thing. Especially you call it illegal moves. They're not illegal moves. They're just things that shouldn't be done at a certain level, right?
Yeah.
But my feeling is, I very much believe in the traditional part of jiu-jitsu where if you are falling back on an ankle lock or falling back on a toe hold or falling back on whatever, that means you can't pass guard.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I think passing guard is one of the, like, it's almost primal. It's like, it's something you should have in your arsenal first
Yeah.
before you start falling back on any kind of ankle lock.
I
or
would
heel hook or
100%
anything.
agree with that statement, but the problem with me is using that as the rule.
No. I'm not using that the rule. I'm just saying, like, as a white belt, I will first teach you to pass guard before I'm going to teach you a toe hold.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just don't want the rule set to dictate what you should and
Absolutely
shouldn't
not.
know.
Absolutely
right?
not. But in a traditional sense, back in the day, like the old timers were like, fuck that, no heel hooks. No,
I joke about it all the time.
Yeah.
I was like, any
Yeah.
guy who's good at heel hooks is a shitty guard
yes.
passer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I've guys in my academy who are amazing at attacking the legs. Can't pass my fucking guard to save their lives.
That is me.
I didn't want to point at you, dude. You fucking did this to me. You did this to me. No, seriously. But there's some guys that are really good at attacking the legs, and I'm very disappointed in their ability to pass guard.
Oh, I 100% agree. Like, I mean, I'll be the first to admit, like, when I first learned about ankle locks, which are legal at white belt, I was like, fuck passing De La Riva. Your foot's on my hip. I'm just going to scoop up your ankle and fall back.
Okay, so I have to tell a Tojo Alex story. So I am rolling with Tojo. I'm a white belt. He is a seasoned 4-stripe white belt.
By seasoned, he means my white belt is disgusting.
It is. Mine's pretty gross. Mine's pretty gross. I wouldn't say it's not quite Kevin.
Back when we were idiot white belts,
Yeah.
people believed that you had to not wash your white belt.
I once had a guy ask me if I was a gray belt in another martial art.
I washed my belt one time.
At Pans, he's like, "That's a gray belt," and I laughed because I thought he was just giving me like, "Oh, good job," you don't train. And then he was like, "No, you need to go get a white belt." I'm like, "Oh."
I washed my white belt one time, and because of that, I forgot it in the dryer and had to wear the pink belt of shame. I will never.
I thought he was gonna say, "I forgot all of my technique."
Well, that too.
My stripes washed off.
Yeah.
Every
I will
last bit.
never wash
I
my
washed
belt
my white
again.
belt, and I forgot
last
all
bit.
of the things I had.
Luckily, he didn't have a whole lot of technique to lose.
Yeah, that's true.
Starting from scratch,
you're
your white
not
belt
wrong.
is just like
I've actually taught in the pink belt of shame, so don't feel bad.
Attaboy. And you did. I had a brown belt that you could have used, and he chose.
No,
Brennan
belt of shame.
Tierney's brown belt is fucking pink.
So fucking gross. Yeah.
My favorite is Patrick in the pink belt of shame.
Yes.
That was the best.
Big
Anyways,
giant Patrick.
But anyways, we're getting too
point,
far.
your point, your
Alex
point.
Alex was getting to a point,
so,
and I thought it was
so
really good.
Tojo was one of my early mentors. I
just love hearing my stories.
Tojo.
that's all he wants to hear. Ended there.
So Tojo
Cut
was
scene.
he was a 4-stripe white belt when I started. I remember because the very first tournament that I went to observe was 2013 Southwest Classic, where Tojo got submitted. No, I'm just kidding.
A lot.
I have never
Multiple
lost.
times in one match.
No, I'm kidding.
This is actually a true story. I've never lost a Southwest Classic.
Yeah, so Tojo he got bronze, and I'll never forget this because he was like, he whipped my ass. I'm like, how the fuck did he lose? But it's the matchups, right? Yeah. And so we, he and I would pair up together for some reason all the time. And the first time he gave me his foot.
Herpes. Oh.
Herpes. God damn it. We're not going to talk about that. No, but he gave me his foot, and I ankle locked him, and that was his move. And I'll never forget this because it was one of my like holy shit moments because he was like, yeah, that was really technical. I was like, oh, thanks, man.
That's like the best compliment.
That is
you
the
can do.
best compliment.
But in retrospect, God, that is cringe. A 4-stripe white belt being complimenting another white belt.
No, for me,
that is technical. Is that the exact opposite of, hey man, you're really strong?
Yes.
Yeah.
It
Oh
is.
yeah.
cool.
For
That
sure.
is the
No,
Because I've
exact-
gotten, hey man, you're really strong
That
a
is
few
the-
times.
To that point, I was just talking to Aaron about this last night. So Paul was telling Aaron that Brandon Walker's getting his black belt this weekend or next weekend, and I was telling him, I was like, I remember being a white belt, and Aaron I think was like either a blue belt or maybe just got his purple belt, and he was preparing for a tournament when he was doing the wants versus needs, and he wanted to train with me. He's like, because you really understand De La Riva. And I was like, it was probably around the time I was like a 4-stripe white belt or whatever, where it was like I felt like I was starting to like. That's when you're like start feeling good in like most positions, right? And I was just like,
yeah, but I would
start
say,
giggling.
I would say like I mean this in the nicest way possible. You're one of those nerds that really, really like you really took on those different positions that we were learning because a lot of it shit we did was closed guard, and we started working open guard. It was a lot of De La Riva stuff, and you were one of those guys that kind of ran with it. And I think that's the highest compliment to your coach. I think that's the highest compliment to Paul that he introduced you to that. What's his name? Nava?
Nava,
something like that.
Paul, never heard of her.
Nava.
But I think that's a really good compliment to your coach that he introduced you to something, you just kind of ran with it.
Yeah.
Because we didn't do a lot of De La Riva. We did a lot of close guard, and then De La Riva was like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. We don't have to fucking close our guard.
Paul was definitely younger and more limber back in those days too.
Yeah. He was only 40 something.
That's a sign of a good coach where they just say you should really concentrate. Like even early on.
Yeah.
If they say learn jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
You should concentrate on this.
Yes.
If you can pick that out.
Yes. If you see like an instinct in somebody, that's a really good compliment.
We had a competition school back then.
Back then was very different than we are right now.
Right.
Back then there was no like, hey, you should totally try this. Back then it was like you're signing up tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
That's
And Paul was right there.
Yeah.
No, like we would be competing, and Paul goes on at 6.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Paul
I'm
led
just
the
throwing out a
charge,
number.
dude. I remember Paul.
All right, since we're talking about Paul, I hope someday we can send Paul riding off into the sunset.
Nah, dude.
I want to give that guy.
Never happen.
No, you don't think he would?
Are you trying to kill Paul?
Retire?
No, I don't want to kill him. I just Paul has done so much.
Yeah.
Man. Like so as a person who at first edited the first like 40 episodes or 30 episodes of this podcast and then cut a lot of clips.
I think he's sick of hearing about Paul.
No.
No,
You
Paul
motherfucker. No, I'm just
Paul
kidding.
has done so much.
Yeah.
And what I want for Paul is like to have given so much, to so many people, to you. I
think
want
this
him
is
to ride off into the sunset.
this is Paul loves this.
Yeah.
This is like us giving back to Paul because like in Arizona, in Arizona Jiu-Jitsu, Paul is. If you're not talking about Paul, and when you're talking about the biggest influences in Arizona Jiu-Jitsu, you don't fucking know.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hear your opinion. If
He
Paul's
is-
not in your conversation, you don't know.
When I got my second stripe, Paul shook my hand. He said, "Congratulations, Steven."
And coming from an outsider, I came in as a purple belt.
Yeah,
to
get the
Arizona.
fuck out of here, bro.
Yeah, like a legit purple belt.
Locals only, bro.
But I remember it was probably less than a month.
Yeah,
because it was when Samir came in for a seminar at Aries, and he's like, "We want a upper belts. Like,
Yeah.
come here."
Yeah.
And I came in, and it was the Friday before the seminar for Samir, and he came in to instruct,
Mhm.
and Paul was there.
Yeah.
And he was like a shark because he looked at me, and it's just like he just kind of circled.
Yeah.
And he kind of like came up to me. He's like, I don't think I know you. Like, no, yeah, I just started training like a month ago.
Yeah.
Here. And I think Dan Enzing, because that thick Chicago accent.
Yeah.
Oh, he's from Red Schaefer. Like, he's legit. And I got like the seal of
You're like, shut
approval.
the fuck up, dude.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
But I got the nod from Paul, and that meant so much to me.
Yes.
You know
Yes.
to build on that, like you were talking about like jiu-jitsu nerds or whatever earlier, like how I like nerded out on like some of the techniques. Paul's one of those guys who like makes sure he knows the people that he needs to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if Paul doesn't know your name, and not to say that there's not people that slide on the radar, because there definitely are, but Paul definitely makes an effort to know the people that matter as far as like, oh, that's a good blue belt over there.
Yeah.
At DeBoa or
and you know what?
at Gracie Baja or at whatever school.
Yeah.
I can go over the thousands and thousands of wins I've had in jiu-jitsu. But one of my proudest moments really was Paul chose me as a training partner.
Oh yeah.
Like one
Yeah.
of Josh's class.
He was looking for an easy round, bro.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I swept him and I submitted him like 4 times. No. But no, like the fact that like,
Yeah.
here's Paul, pick of the litter, and he chose me, and it's a combination of knowing that I'm going to challenge him, and it's going to be safe.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Safe is a huge thing. So I had a huge compliment from you, Tojo, like a week ago.
All my compliments are
Friday.
huge because I'm huge.
Yeah,
You're not.
you tapped early. that was
See?
smart.
Now I'm small. Now I'm small.
Fucking toddler.
A 200-pound toddler that's small, but also big.
For all my
You're a fat toddler.
for all my white
All
belt-
toddlers are fat.
That is true. That is true. I have one. For all my white belt brethren again, I had a huge compliment from you, and I want to just say thank you for this because I went up to Alex, and it was a Friday night. We were all on the mat, and he couldn't roll because of his knee. And I said, "Coach,
Because he's a bitch. Yeah.
I said, "Coach, can we do a flow roll?" And he said, "I can't because the doctor said I can make it worse." And you said to me, "You want to go?" That is a huge compliment to me because when a black belt can go to a white belt and say, "I would like to roll with you," or "Would you like to roll?" That means that he knows it's going to be safe, and safe is a big word
it
there.
is.
He
It
knows
is.
he knows you're not going to spaz.
And
Yeah.
and that's what I'll say. Kind of how we got into this was like illegal techniques or techniques that aren't allowed.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's all spirals. It's not
Yeah.
circles.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Spirals are
I'll
good.
I'll say this: like, you can hurt somebody because of this,
Yes.
and you could hurt somebody how they react to this.
Mm.
So it's part of it is I only care about safety when I became a coach. Beforehand, I didn't care.
Yeah.
100%.
No, yeah, I agree.
And
I understand what you're saying.
and it's just like, I don't care that you're a white belt. If you want to learn toe hold, you want to learn knee bars, you want to learn heel hooks, I'll teach it to you. But that comes with the responsibility of, I'm not
Quote
like
quote it, do it. Spider-Man, come on, Uncle Ben, come on, do it.
I don't.
Great power.
Great power
Great.
comes with the responsibility.
Great responsibility. God damn
You
it.
fucked it up. You
God
had a
damn,
chance.
yeah. The nerds are walking out. Anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, folks,
Hey!
Anyway.
thank you for tuning in.
But with that comes
but you're
comes the
But
responsibility.
finish your thought. Finish your thought.
But yeah, this is what I say. 11:30.
11:30 a.m. Aries East.
Aries East Mesa, Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
I'm gonna teach you those techniques.
Yeah.
And I want you to be safe with it.
Yeah.
And I want you to be safe when you're rolling with it. And I want you to be safe with your partner. You hit it in the competition, specifically in the finals, and you get DQ'd because you hit that knee bar. I'm gonna treat you to some pizza.
You
after.
technically won.
You won.
Yeah, you technically
Like
won.
this is like
interesting. So that's interesting. So if you hit an illegal technique,
Forbidden.
forbidden technique,
Forbidden.
Not illegal because they're not
and
illegal.
you lose by disqualification,
You're not going to
that's
jail.
Still a plus.
yeah.
That is still a win.
I will say this.
Elaborate.
One of my
Hold on, I want to get back before we get into that.
I'm sorry I misquoted MCU.
Yeah, can you
I am
just shut
That's
the
not
fuck
MCU.
up?
That is the Ultimates 2000 edition. Okay,
This motherfucker.
I know, right?
Superman, right?
If I didn't have whiskey in this glass, I would throw this glass.
Problem is, I spent my whole life dreaming about being a superhero, and now I'm training something that lets me be a superhero.
I know, isn't it cool? No, it's something that I wanted to. So you were saying that you were like,
Good recovery,
this
by the way.
is a big honor or whatever. I want something that I want a lot of lower. It doesn't matter, blue belt, even purple belt, brown belts who are rolling with, anybody that's above you. It doesn't matter. Anybody's rolling above with. There's kind of like a meme that I saw the other day about like. I just got my ass kicked by like this black belt, and he told me great job, fuck you, or whatever, right? And it's just like when an upper belt tells you great job, fucking
Accept
that.
Accept that.
Accept it because
Yeah.
like I should beat your ass.
Yeah, but,
Yes.
Right.
but
So
there's one little thing that you did that made me be like, this kid
And
gets
just
it.
because you looked at it as broad strokes, I got submitted 3 times in 5 minutes by this black belt.
Yeah.
But I was paying attention to how you reacted when I mounted you, how you reacted when I put you in the armbar position, and how you did all of the right things. But guess what? Every right thing that you know how to do, I know the answer to that because I've been fucking doing this for 10 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or 11 years or 15 or 20 years, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But I recognize that like you did do the right thing. I just knew the right thing to answer your right thing.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what jiu-jitsu is.
Yeah.
It's like I give you a question, you give me an answer, might be the right answer, might be the wrong answer. If it's the right answer, okay, well now that's basically a question, and I have to give you the right answer. And it's back and forth. This is a conversation. Jiu-jitsu is a conversation.
Yes.
Right? And at one point, someone's going to give the wrong answer and get submitted.
Yeah.
Right? And if I saw that you gave the right answer, but I had the right answer to your question, now I win.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how most conversations being roles with a black belt and a blue belt, or a black belt, purple belt and a blue belt, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? That's how that the conversation of rolling works. So take that when anybody who, even if they're below you, right? If anybody says like, dude, fucking good job, like, because maybe you answered one of their questions right.
Yeah.
Take that.
Well,
Yes.
it's just like you've got a bread and butter, right? I've got a bread and butter,
Yeah.
right? A sweep or a sub or whatever, and you counter that bread and butter. You're like, yeah, that was cool. And then
Right.
you gotta like you said, it's a conversation,
Right.
You got to go deeper into your mental capacity to establish dominance in that conversation.
But it's so easy to look at it like I tapped.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
But we had a good conversation.
Yeah, but let's talk about an argument
Sorry,
because
I'm saying yes a lot, but I was like,
this-
so much good knowledge.
this happened to
Yeah.
a friend of mine pretty recently, a friend of ours, pretty recently.
I hate him.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
you.
I don't like him.
Yeah,
Turtle position north south.
Paul
right?
sucks.
Oh shit, you're not talking about me, are you?
No, turtle position north south. He does a sit out, hits the guy in the head. They headbutt, right? Not you, different one. Yours was more of a spear, right?
He doesn't even remember it because he
But
had.
this is
I got
a friend of ours-
headbutted?
This is a friend of ours that lives on the East Coast. He headbutts the guy, and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." Guy says nothing. Was a higher belt, right? So the guy just starts to submit him every few seconds, just beating the shit out of him.
Yep.
No big deal. Wasn't anything dirty. At the end of the round, the guy stood on our friend's ribs and jumped off of him just to prove a point. There is no fucking place. Let me tell you something. Anybody does that in my academy, they're fucking gone.
Yeah.
That fucking day. I don't care if it's Amy.
Wait, someone
Amy's
did
his
this that
wife,
we
by the way,
know?
so that's a big deal.
Huh?
Someone did this that we know?
Mm-hmm. No, someone did this to someone we know.
Oh.
Yeah. Stood on, I'll tell you after.
Yeah, I was
Stood
gonna. I
on
want to
their
know who
ribs-
this is.
Stood on their fucking ribs and jumped
At
off
your
of them.
school?
No,
Oh.
East Coast.
Oh, okay.
So, and he called me and he's like, "How should I handle this?" I was like, "You got to tell your instructor like right now, because if I heard anything like that, that motherfucker would be gone today.
Yeah.
He would not be allowed in my fucking academy ever. There's no.
Oh,
fucking
you nipped
place.
that in the butt as soon as possible.
There was no
Yeah.
fucking place.
And again, another thing for people of lower belts: if you ever feel uncomfortable, tell your instructor
100%.
immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Immediately tell
Yeah.
your instructor that, and first, and it's chain of command, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Start with, don't go to the academy owner. The academy owner is very busy, but tell your instructor. So if it's the instructor of that class, go to him after class and say, "I felt uncomfortable with this thing.
Mhm.
It bothered me."
Yeah.
And he will he will have the discretion to say, "Okay, I'm just going to monitor this and
Yeah.
see if it gets worse, or I'm going to take it up to the academy owner." But tell somebody.
Yeah.
Tell somebody.
I mean,
And
we were
it-
talking about this earlier because we had in my class we had an issue where there was some headbutting,
It
and I mean
Oh.
metaphorical headbutting. I mean, like
Yeah.
they were two guys who just weren't getting. They had a role where they didn't get along, and things were escalating. It's like you gotta, if you don't take charge of that immediately,
Yeah.
it grows.
It's like a referee that doesn't take charge of the game,
Yep.
and a game gets.
Yeah.
2 points. So primarily, when you're going to your coach, don't feel like you're like, hey, this guy did a illegal technique and it hurt me. No. It's just like, hey, just so you know, like, this is what I felt uncomfortable. I'm not sure that he has the control for this. Can you just keep an eye on this?
Yeah.
Like, let them know. It's like
Yeah.
it's constructive criticism for the coach, because as a coach, like, especially like the bigger a class gets and you have one coach, right? Generally, right?
Yeah.
One person that's coaching this entire class, and say there's 20, 30, 40, 50 people. I can't
lot of
keep
people.
my eye on every fucking match,
Right.
right?
It's
Yeah.
impossible.
Right.
Yeah.
So I
Yep.
need to know, like, hey, if there's a guy who doesn't understand that, like, the rule set, or maybe he just doesn't understand, like, hey, the guy that I'm rolling with might not know how to defend this, right? You got to be careful.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not snitching like you're trying to get this guy in trouble.
No.
Yeah, you're not
no.
fucking snitching. You
No.
are creating a safe
Safe.
community.
Yeah.
So
And it is not snitching to go to your coach and say, "Hey, this thing happened in this role, and I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm worried.
Yeah.
This guy's going to shred my knee. He's going to shred my training partner's knee." It, like, the safety of jiu-jitsu is the most important thing, man.
100%.
When
Yeah.
I'm getting fucking choked, like, to like where I'm like, "Oh shit, I might pass out." If I know that if I tap, that guy's gonna let go.
Yeah.
That is the most important thing of this
Yeah.
whole thing.
100%.
And and my other point was, like, if nothing else, like, this is going to lead to the coach having a talk with that guy and be like, hey, just so you know, we're not here to win rounds.
Right.
Yeah.
We're here to get better. And if you're rolling with some, like, especially like if you're an upper belt or maybe even a blue belt, right, rolling with a white belt, and you're like, oh, I found this toe hold, and I'm fucking wrapping this toe hold, and you're like, this stupid
Yeah.
white belt isn't tapping, I'm just gonna fucking break his ankle.
Pop.
That is
Yeah.
the wrong attitude.
Yes,
buddy.
Yeah.
yes. Okay, so I have a good
That's where the catch
quick
and release
example
comes
is,
in.
Yeah,
So-
but they don't know.
Yeah.
That's the problem,
Yeah.
and that's why, as the white belt, where you're like, I got toe holded, and it feels gross, right? It feels like, oh, I just snitched on this blue belt for toe holding me,
Right.
right?
but
Yeah.
it's like the coach needs to know this, right? Because the coach
For
needs,
sure.
the coach needs to be the one that goes up to that guy and be like, hey, fucking sick that you're trying to learn toe holds, because you should be fucking learning toe holds. But just so you know, like, there's no, if you have that toe hold and that guy doesn't, and you're rolling with somebody who doesn't know how to defend toe holds, they might not necessarily know.
Yeah.
That they need to tap.
Yep.
That's half the injury.
Yeah,
Yes.
It's not you cranking on the submission. It's
them not knowing when to tap.
exact or how to react.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And there's guys. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you talk
not.
about
dare
jiu-jitsu
you.
IQ.
Yeah.
You talk about jiu-jitsu IQ all the time, so that's where that comes into play, right? I mean, you got to know you've got to know the damage that technique can cause.
Yes.
Right. And
Oh,
if you're watching people like I have some guys that I'm like, I'll get them in submissions, and you know who they are. I'll get them in submissions, and I just let them go because they just won't tap. And I know I know I'm gonna break their shit. You know what I mean? And there's some people that should know the damage that's going to cause, but they still don't tap. I still catch them.
And it's so hard. It's so hard because like if Alex and I are rolling and I have his fucking, if I have him in a toe hold, I'm gonna fucking crank until he taps.
Yeah. Because I know. Yeah,
I know he knows when he needs to tap, and I know,
and we all know you're not gonna catch Alex.
Of course not. Of course not.
but there is a so
that's why he's
Give
got
me another stripe.
and you can get,
Alex just had surgery. I'm not saying it was because of something I did, but
I can neither confirm nor deny.
so you can give me hang on.
I'll say this too.
we're not drinking.
Put him in the middle.
We're not drinking, guys.
So you can give me direct coaching on this. So I think that there is a right way to gauge that to gauge that intensity, if you will. So like, great example. I roll against Celeste in the 11:30 AMs.
That kid is awesome.
She is a fast track blue belt.
Yeah.
She went from 2-stripe to 4-stripe.
Yep.
And
Great
I'm
coach.
And I'm gonna.
We're gonna fucking kill this bottle.
Coach.
Yeah, we are gonna, and I'm gonna fucking die.
You guys are gonna
I
sleep
should've just
here.
brought the weed.
You're just gonna sleep here.
Yeah, I think that's probably happening.
That's fine.
I mean, there is Uber. You fucking poor bastard. I'll fucking.
Do you know where he lives, dude?
I'll pay for your fucking.
that far away.
I'll pay for your Uber. I'll pay for
I
your
Ubered from North Scottsdale last night.
Yeah, I got your Uber. I got yours too. Goddammit.
So anyway, so I.
What about mine?
Now fuck you.
No, fuck you.
You can walk home. It's right across the street.
Your girlfriend is downstairs. She can drive you.
She's definitely drunk. She's hanging out with Amy. She's probably drunker than us.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So there is a right way, I think, to gauge.
Don't look
that
at that clock,
intensity.
Alex.
Yeah, we're breaking the record, motherfucker.
Who cares? Who cares?
Oh,
Fuck it.
yeah.
It's
So-
50. Episode 50. Let's fucking
Yeah,
break
let's
the record.
Episode
fucking
50.
go. So
hey, you got a curfew?
No.
Good.
Let's
fucking go.
It's Saturday. None of us have a curfew.
Saturday night, baby. I got the day off tomorrow. I'm just gonna be smoking weed and cleaning
Let's
my house.
go.
All right. Anyways,
I gotta
so
work
there-
all day tomorrow.
Sorry, he's got a point. Shut the fuck up.
I'm
So
sorry.
there is a right way to gauge that intensity, and a perfect example of that is Celeste. 4-stripe white belt, went from 2-stripe to 4-stripe in one promotion. So I roll with Celeste. Celeste does not fucking tap.
No.
She is like Gumby.
Yeah.
And I had her, and a great example of this is I had her in an armbar. And I will say, it was a perfect Jujigatami. Right?
Okay.
I went to fundamentals class all week. And
Did you just speak Japanese?
did.
then on Friday, I got her in it and pulled her into an armbar. She didn't tap. And then she didn't tap. And then she didn't fucking tap. And at one point, we stopped in the middle of the roll, and she was about to tap, and I said, "Is that it?" And she said, "No, that's not it." So I said, "Okay," and I tightened up, and then I cranked it, and she tapped. But I waited. I waited to tap. I talked to her. I communicated with my partner.
Yeah.
It was not about winning the roll.
It was about safety.
It was about safety. It was about this woman has fucking Gumby limbs, right?
And a phenomenal coach.
And a phenomenal coach.
You know,
11:30 a.m. Aries East
Mediocre.
Mesa.
The
Mediocre
11:30 coach
Monday through Friday.
is probably my favorite
Monday
coach
through Friday.
in this room. In this room.
But there is a
Fair.
right way to gauge that intensity. And again, I'm telling you guys,
just
like
mad 'cause
all
they
my
made him have
all the
surgery.
low belts, you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention to what is going on in your role. It is not about winning your training. It is about safety. And you can get to that point where you're cranking, and then just think about it and stop and ask, like, are you done? Or are you just being obstinate? And they'll tell you, like, no, you're
Great
just not
word.
getting it right.
Yeah.
Great word.
And
Then you crank it.
Alex doesn't understand that word
I don't know what
because
that word
he doesn't
means.
speak English well.
yeah.
I speak
but-
Spanish pretty well.
But
Did not,
but
though.
on that point
Thank
though,
you. Thank you.
on that point, there's definitely a balance because one of my favorite. This is stupid because one of my favorite things
You
to
are
do
stupid.
is to let someone like. Oh, he snapped that toe hold.
I'm sorry. Can I get you guys another sparkling water?
Can you
or
shut the
anything?
fuck up?
I
for
would like
second?
a regular water
I'll br-
because sparkling water tastes
I'll
like
take one of
carpet.
these, too.
I'll be right back.
All right.
Well,
I'll stay here, but then after he gets back, I gotta pee.
No, let's all just be really quiet while Alex is gone.
Should we take a 5-minute break?
No.
Didn't we get, at Fight to
All
Win?
right.
Didn't we get a request for you and I just to host this?
Don't we? I thought we do just host this. Alex just kind of shows up every once in a while.
Yeah. I'm here every
You, pretty
25
much.
episodes.
I'm just saying. You and I.
We should totally hijack this episode. Or not this episode.
Now
This,
it's- now's the
one of
time.
the episodes.
All right. I'm gonna pee.
That's awesome.
That's you guys.
Welcome to the BJJ Tojo and Colin cast. Because
I want to use my rugby. Tojo and the Goon.
the Goon. I thought you were Burgundy.
That's my jiu-jitsu nickname.
Oh, Burgundy and Tojo, Goon and the Tojo, Tojo and the Goon.
That's not gonna work.
Everyone's listening and they're like,
I'm going to the bathroom. Too.
everyone's listening and they're like, shut the fuck
Yeah.
up. Well, God damn it. All right. Well, I was gonna make a point, but now
I
I'm
know.
gonna
I
wait.
had a good I had a good coaching point.
Yeah, me too.
Ugh.
These bastards. Hey, just so everyone knows, Colin and I have been here the whole time. Neither of us have had to go to the bathroom. Neither of us had to go get water. We're fucking drinking water.
We're prepared.
All our fucking whiskey is half water.
We've been drinking the whiskey.
Yeah,
Being a good host.
whiskey's half water. I don't even know what my point was.
What does it fucking matter?
Oh my God, there's girls in here. No girls allowed.
Okay, then leave.
Hey, what subject were we on? Because we're just yelling at each other at this point.
No, Tojo and I both had a good point about coaching.
Did you really?
Yeah, we made a really good
Coaching
point
and
while you were
safety.
gone, and no one heard it. So that's just how it works.
All right. All right, hang on. I'm just fucking tightening shit down, man. All right, here we go. Okay, so we were talking about coaching. Tell me about your point.
We already made our point.
Yeah, we made it.
Make your
while you were
fucking
gone.
point. I wasn't here. Come
You
on.
were gone. You were gone. This is the Tojo and Goon show, or Tojo and Burgundy show. We'll see which one gets the most clips.
Tojo and Goon. I like that. Goon.
I like that.
The Goon.
Tojo and Goon.
The Goon was my rugby nickname.
The goon?
Yeah.
Were you an actual goon? Did you beat the shit out of people?
There's not necessarily a goon position in rugby,
Okay.
but there is.
all right. But let's get back to the point. Really, so the point that I was about to make was talking about how like it's important. It's important to get to.
That?
He didn't want to.
No.
He didn't want
Put some
the.
headphones on.
He didn't want the flushing of the toilet to be on the.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
But it is
Wait,
important.
do you mean he came out here without flushing the fucking toilet?
What a cunt.
He gave you an upper decker.
Oh, so bad. So bad.
You'll find out
He's
later.
probably a waffle stomp too, man.
Oh.
Fucking gross.
Do you guys know the
1 in 30.
The bird's nest?
I was wondering.
No, what's a bird's nest?
Bird's nest.
Throw the headphones on.
Hi, I'm gate crashing. What up?
Kelsey Weissman, everybody.
Yeah, Kelsey Weissman.
Hi.
Well, hey.
I'm the one who pretends he doesn't like to be like dating.
I hear you.
Bird's nest.
Please, Colin, regale us with your rugby story because I've heard this and I love it.
I did this at the University of Wisconsin Platteville.
Okay.
Big engineering school, bunch of nerds. Decent at rugby, not as good as UW Parkside. Their bathroom, to turn off the water, you have to reach across, so it's just a small room.
Right?
So you have to your face is right in the bowl when you're turning off the water.
Okay.
So if you do that and you turn off the water and then you stuff it with toilet paper and take a big dump,
What the fuck is going on?
Stand by. Stand by. Hold on to
Okay, all
something.
right.
for them to turn on the water to flush it, they have to reach over. And that is called the bird's nest.
I already heard this story.
Okay.
So bad.
All right.
Shout out to UW Platteville. You suck at rugby and pretty much everything else except for engineering. Pretty good engineering school.
All right,
You're
back
really
to
smart, probably our bosses.
everyone's back on deck.
All right, we're
let's
back.
Let's get back
We
to
are
jiu-jitsu.
back.
All right,
So I would like to point out that the Alex and Colin
the Goon, Tojo and the Goon.
Tojo and the Goon hour
Yeah.
resulted in
That's gonna be
bird's nest stories.
Yes.
Episode 51 is going to be Tojo and the Goon.
I will,
I'm down. I'm down for the continuity.
I will tell.
I like that. Tojo
You
and the
know,
Goon.
I worked so
did
hard.
really good.
I worked so fucking hard.
If we take it over, that'd be so good.
And we'll turn this light off. There's no BJJ Foxcast. No, we'll put it we'll draw
Just hang something off of there, like a sign.
Tojo and the Goon.
A handwritten sign.
All right. So before these weaklings had to leave for water and peeing.
I'm ready to. We went way past the halfway mark.
Yeah,
by the
we
way.
did. We did.
Yeah.
No, I mean.
So we're talking about safety.
halfway into the grave. Not alcohol safety.
We are talking about
no.
None of
We're
us.
not talking about
None of us are driving home
No.
except for me.
No, Kelsey's driving you.
She's drunker than me. She's been
No.
hanging out with Amy. We already went over this.
No,
Sleep since 7. Are you
Amy's
By the
been
way,
asleep for like
she-
3 hours.
She is such a good role. By the way, she's fucking awesome.
Role or
yeah.
role model?
Yeah,
Yes.
Well,
yeah. She.
Yeah,
so-
if you want to work on like techniques you've never worked on before,
Kelsey. 100%.
Kelsey is
Yeah.
the one to go to.
Yeah, my favorite thing about Kelsey is when she was a white belt.
oh boy.
When Kelsey was a white belt, I would put her in De La Hiva, and then she would just sit, and I would stand up.
Just stand up.
It was a sweep right
Just
there.
stand.
It's
Brought
all
to
a
you
matter-
by Tojo and the Groom. Just stand up.
It's a matter of
Right.
size.
Listen, you guys should totally do a podcast called Tojo and the Goon. That would be so
That's
fucking
our.
cool.
That's our sec. Yeah, that'll be another.
that
That's
would be
another.
so fucking
Where
cool.
we start drunk.
oh shit.
We drink for an hour and then play.
Yep.
And
I'll
in the first hour, let's shit on Taekwondo.
Yeah.
For the daily Taekwondo shitstorm.
Okay. I will say though, if you have not rolled with the higher belt women in your academy, like if you're a white belt and let's say you avoid the women in your academy, so one of the greatest things about Aries, I think, and I think this speaks to one of the missions that you've many times kind of expressed, Alex, is you're really big on women in jiu-jitsu.
Mhm.
You want to improve the position of women in jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
At Aries, I had this really cool moment where it was a Wednesday. It was like a Wednesday morning, 6 a.m. class, right? We lined up. The highest belts in the room were purple belts. 3 purple belts, all women.
Nice.
It's a beginner class.
Nice.
Oh, fuck you. All women.
Yeah.
If you have not rolled with the women in your academy who are higher belts than you, I think it's extremely. I think it's worth doing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
learned
It's worth doing
especially
for
if-
sure. But,
Especially
yeah.
but especially if you're like me, who's like a really light guy, like I'm like 135. You can learn a lot.
Yeah.
You can learn a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's all about technique.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Kelsey will beat my ass every time, and we are the same weight. With the same weight. That is
the thing about Kelsey is I was her coach when she was a white belt, and one thing about Kelsey is that she does not back down from any match. She rolled. My favorite memory of Kelsey is she was rolling with a guy named David Lopez. David is one of those people that you would dodge as a white belt because
I would dodge?
He's that fucking big.
Because you're soft.
I
You're
definitely
soft.
have size fear
Yeah.
as a white belt.
Because you don't go to the 11:30.
That's
Aries
right.
East Mesa.
Well, I
Monday
have-
through
you know
Friday.
what?
Better than
was-
Kray.
Kelsey, as a white belt, was rolling with my blue belt, David Lopez. David is a big man. Army, beard, giant motherfucker, over 200 pounds. Kelsey was never backed down from a single round with anybody. I was the smallest guy in the room next to Kelsey. This is the 6 a.m. Nava class back in the day, right? So Kelsey's rolling, and she obviously didn't sit back on a De La Hiva this time, but she got David in an armbar, okay? And she had a fucking...
Did he do this?
He did. Not only did he do that, he stood up.
Yeah.
And he fucking brought his arm way up. And Kelsey is hanging onto this arm, and she's driving her fucking hip in.
He-Man did.
Yeah, and
or
finished-
fucking Excalibur.
Finished the armbar with this giant fucking gorilla, like, holding her like this. But she extended her entire body, grabbed the end of the lever, fucking yanked. Yeah, and he set her down gently because he was tapping.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I would
that is my
slammed her.
favorite.
I would have fucking whipped her on
That
the
is
ground.
my favorite
Head
memory
first.
of Kelsey. Yeah, I would have thrown her out the window. Fuck her. Not a helicopter.
That's
ass
back
out the
before
window.
there was pads on the wall. I would have put her head. She would have been
Put her
popped.
head through the
Her head would have
plaster.
popped out into the physical therapy
Into
office.
F45. She would have popped her head in there.
I don't think we had pads on the wall at that point. So yeah, that's probably a good option.
But like, hey, going way back to what he was talking about earlier about
Steven.
Taekwondo
Yeah, my name's
sucks.
Steven.
Taekwondo
sucks.
I've
Does
never-
not.
I've
It
never
does
heard of her.
not. Stop
For
it.
adults.
It's not that
For
it's,
adults.
It's not that it sucks. It's just not lethal.
Oh, here we go. Listen.
About being in positions like so he was talking about
Watch some Taekwondo guy is gonna fucking punch
You
me in the
fucking
face.
cunts.
You
You
cunt.
Anyways,
Aries
all right.
East Mesa, 11:30, Monday through Friday.
Taekwondo. Yep.
Steven was talking about how he was in put a girl in a submission and he was going slow and she waited and
Yeah. Against Celeste.
I
Gumby
wanted to highlight how important it is to like to be able to be put in positions where you can kind of like so being the higher level person, being put in those positions and letting someone crank on something to the point where you're like, all right, I can, okay, that hurts. That's where I need to tap. Because it is important to know when you're in danger and need to tap and when you're just in danger.
Bro.
Yeah.
Do you know where I tap? As soon as my hands get released in an armbar, I tap.
Yeah.
That's it.
Tap early, tap off.
But
I
knowing,
tap as
but
soon
but
as
learning,
my arm is extended.
it's a really nuanced skill. Learning the difference between being in pain and being injured,
100%.
right? And especially we were talking about that earlier with like the forbidden techniques like heel hooks and knee bars and shit, where like that margin of error is small. Right.
Yeah.
Or even in reverse, right, where you there is no margin, like right where you like you don't feel any pain and then all of a sudden you're injured, right? But it's really important to learn where that limit is.
Do you remember in Espen? I think it was like a Pans, like maybe 2017.
Fuck that guy. No, I'm just kidding.
Espen, you're a beautiful man. Espen is a guy. He's a black belt out of Norway, and he is
Norwegia.
Norway.
I think they prefer Norwegia.
Norway.
I'm
I
just
would like to
kidding.
point out that jiu-jitsu is a
I don't know
global
what to say
sport,
about
and
that.
that is what is a global
Martial
martial
art.
art.
Yep.
Martial art.
Yep.
Jiu-jitsu is a global
I've
martial art, and that
always
is what is
said Norwegia.
fucking beautiful about
Yep.
it. Anyways, go on.
So Espen is like the most soft-spoken, nicest guy you'll ever meet, and he is a fucking savage. And
he's less afraid of heights than Josh Rodriguez because I took them both rock climbing, and Josh Rodriguez was a little bitch.
Josh, I don't think you're a bitch. I want you on the show.
But he is afraid of heights.
So
He's not
you
afraid of
might
heel
be
hooks, he's afraid of heights.
Whatever. But Espen broke a guy's ankle from a standing ankle lock.
Yep.
Yeah, and everybody's saying, "Oh man, that was brutal." And in the sweetest Norwegian accent, he just said, "We all have a choice." That is fucking gangster, dude. I was so fucking scared. So ever since then, as soon as my grip gets released, I just tap because everyone has a choice. You make a choice. You make a choice if you're gonna hang on to that fucking armbar. You make a choice if you're gonna hold out on that ankle lock, knee bar, whatever. I've made a choice on ankle locks, and my shit popped.
Yep. I will say this about a straight ankle lock. You're hitting the toes, and the top of your foot where there's a lot of bones, and there's going to be a lot of popping.
That's true. Yeah.
So yes, you can hear a pop in a straight ankle lock.
You know what's
Three pops in an ankle lock,
Yeah, but
or in a heel hook.
I'll give you 3.
but you know, like
Got 4 ligaments.
so you know what's scary about the ankle lock is
It's
Nogi Worlds purple belt guy had me an ankle lock, and I'm like, I'm good, and my foot went like this, like the arch of my foot went that way. I'm like, ooh, that doesn't look good. Like it literally started curling
You
over.
bitch.
He was tearing my fucking foot up,
Did
like
you
not
tap?
the ankle, but the foot. I
And
tapped.
you didn't.
7 seconds left in the match, semifinals.
Hey, the damage is done, bro. Just fucking let it go.
Bro, it hurt like a motherfucker. It scared me.
You
I'll be
strike
honest
me
with you.
as a man who has never had his foot bent in half.
Oh, I've had both of my I once had Matt Mamlin pop my ankle once, and he fucking freaked out. I'm like, it's broken now. I mean, what are we gonna do? But Matt was totally like, it was really. And the funny thing, it was right before, it was the week of a tournament.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I can't do anything about it now.
I have definitely trained with a purple foot.
Yeah.
That's
That's different than a purple belt.
I honestly think like
purple foot.
ankle locks are honestly like a little bit different than tolds. I feel like tolds are a little less fucking gangster than ankle locks.
So one last thing I want to cover.
No,
Taekwondo.
Wait, hang on. How close are we to the record? How close?
Taekwondo.
No, we passed the record.
All right, let's
Taekwondo is bullshit.
No.
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
We're not doing katas, bro.
So we're Tojo, you and I have talked about this. I want to talk about the Bud Light bullshit. I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're letting any representative of any sort of company, it doesn't fucking matter, dictate what you're consuming, get the fuck out of here.
Thank you.
Get the fuck out of here.
Thank you.
Oh
It's
no.
so, like-
oh no, a gay guy or a transgender person. That's the reason you're not drinking Bud Light? Get the fuck out of here.
First off,
You fucking dork.
first off, I'm Mexican. We dig Bud Light.
Yeah. Well,
we dig it. We dig it.
Yeah.
And there's no transgender person that's going to take Bud Light away from my people.
right.
Here's the thing.
But if you're letting like any sort of representative like dictate what you consume, go
Exactly.
fuck
Go
yourself,
fuck
you
yourself.
fucking coward.
Listen, live your life, man.
Yeah.
Live your life. By the way, people that are drinking Bud Light are drinking that were drinking Bud Light are now switching to Coors Light. By the way, Coors Light had the fucking flag, the rainbow flag on their shit years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all it's all
Listen,
fucking.
man, if you're drinking that shit, it's because you like the price.
And you're broke.
You like
Hey,
you're broke.
hey,
You're broke.
Hold on.
Yes.
broke.
I got
broke.
It's okay.
I got news for every single person listening right now. Every single corporation you listen to has a gay person and a racist.
Both of those things at the same time.
100%.
100% of them.
100%.
I'm sorry, that's the reality. Fucking grow up and
Including the RNC and DNC.
consume the
They
products
all
that you
have
enjoy.
gay people
Period.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
And racist. Yes.
That's a weird one. That's a weird one to me because
Why?
it's so it's just weird because it's like Coors Light of all brands makes this fucking hard left turn to be like, we love trans people.
Bud Light.
Bud Light.
Sorry. Bud Light makes this hard left turn to be like, we love trans people. And then, which they had to have known. They had to have known that was going to piss
Well,
everybody
not only that,
off.
they were like, let's shit on like the college kid, the frat boys, and like those are the people who fucking drink your
They
beer,
drink
bro.
your shit.
Yeah.
I'm like-
They drink your beer because it's cheap.
I think we made Colin angry.
No, I'm just saying it wasn't.
Express your...
You look like a PBR kind of guy.
Hey, pull the shit to your.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Damn, it took you
wasn't
3.5
so much,
hours.
It wasn't so much.
And he's still not doing it. You should... Okay,
Look at Kelsey's face.
Yes. It should
Alex,
be
look at
as a
Kelsey's face
penis
right
in
now.
your mouth.
Right. No, it wasn't so much.
Hang on.
They-
Kelsey has something to add.
And I'm going to yield the floor to Colin because he started first. I will
Okay.
wait patiently with his
Okay.
mic in my face.
It wasn't that they did a marketing ad towards transgender people.
Right.
They gave a transgender person a can.
Yes, that's all they did.
It wasn't a marketing strategy.
No.
It was, we realize what you're doing.
Yeah.
Here's a can.
Yeah, and that dude
With
is
your face on it.
that dude is sneaky hot. I'm just saying, he's sneaky hot. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm
Right.
saying. Go ahead, hit it.
Okay, so my only point is that they do enough marketing that they know who's going to stop drinking and who is going to keep drinking. And they don't give a fuck that you stop drinking it. You don't matter to them.
Wait, why are you so angry?
Because I'm angry about this.
Don't be angry.
It's shit beer.
We are on your side. We are on your side here.
Yeah, if you're gonna boycott Bud Light, boycott it because it sucks.
Bud Light is not good.
Josh, that stays on.
I
stays
am
on.
from Wisconsin.
Bud Light's terrible. It's awful.
We drink beer.
Hey, bro.
But they all
Hey,
know.
my
that's
buddy-
a good way to end this fucking podcast. It's like,
No.
if you're going to boycott something, boycott it because it sucks.
Yeah.
You know, my buddy here locally, he is a very successful guy, but he's very down to earth. Like he goes to little pubs, and he went to Wisconsin, and he goes to this place, and the lady says, "What are you drinking?" And he's a big microbrew guy, and he says, "Well, I'll just have anything local." She pulls out a fucking Miller Lite.
Yeah.
It's local, bitch.
It's fucking
No,
local.
you gotta be specific. You gotta be specific in Wisconsin. One of my favorite breweries is Lakefront Brewery.
Where's that?
Milwaukee's Beast.
Right on the lake.
It's on the lake.
Thank you.
They have a little stick. They take it from the Milwaukee River. They take out all the condoms and whatever out of the water to make the beer.
Take out all the condoms.
But what they make in 1 year, and this is my favorite beer, and they make probably 12 different kinds of beer.
If you say Yingling, I'm going to shoot you right now.
No, that's Pennsylvania.
It's Lakefront.
Okay.
Lakefront Brewery. They make 12 different kinds of beer.
It's somewhere in
What
like
they
the
make
Midwest
in
or East
1
Coast.
year-
I don't fucking know.
Miller spills in 1 8-hour shift.
Holy shit.
Like, if you want to like compare like what microbreweries make to what the big companies make, what this small microbrewery makes, and they make at least 12 different kinds of beer. Miller spills in an 8-hour shift.
That's fantastic.
What they make in a year.
That's so cool.
If you're going to fucking boycott a company, boycott it because their fucking product sucks.
Yes.
Clap.
That's it. That's it. All right. Listen, we've been going for 3.5 hours.
Is that the record, though?
That is a record.
Count the minutes.
3 hours.
Count the minutes.
3 hours 39.
Oh, he is adamant.
Aries East Mesa.
I've gone this far.
11:30.
11:30?
I have gone this
Monday
far. I want the
through
record.
Oh my
Friday.
God.
Learn the technique that's illegal,
100%.
Forbidden.
And do it safely.
but do it safely.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Listen. If
Don't
you,
roll with women. I'm just kidding.
Oh, please go fuck yourself. Excuse the fuck out
Wait,
of you.
I got to do the outro. I got to do the outro.
He needs to shut up then.
Yep, no, I agree.
We all need to shut up.
Trust
We've
me.
been saying that for years.
All right, everybody. If you love the
There's
podcast,
50% water in whiskey.
Can you just turn off his mic? Is that a thing?
I
you
can.
just- Can you just
Actually,
turn
I
it
can.
off? Like, I'm sorry to be like the voice of reason over here, but just say it.
All right, everybody. If you love the podcast, please like and subscribe. Please follow us on Instagram. Don't look at our webpage because it sucks. And I want to thank all of our guests here today. I want to thank Colin. Thank you so much for being here, Colin. I want to thank Tojo. I want to thank
If you're going to
Steven.
boycott a company, boycott it because their product sucks.
That's the words to live by. Steven, thank you so much for being here. And Kelsey, thank you so much for chiming in. I am hammered.
We are drunk. All right, one more thing. Thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed, who has followed, who has liked. The growth of the podcast has been incredible in the last 2 months, and we want to continue to grow it.
In spite of Tojo.
In spite of Tojo. It's just one of those things that we're never going to stop.
Hey guys, happy 50, guys.
Happy
Happy
50.
50. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Cheers, boys.